You're listening to the Beans and Dice podcast, a podcast about how we game.
Hey folks, welcome to the Thursday night Beans and Dice live call-in show. We are your hostesses.
Hostesses?
With the mostesses?
Sure, yeah, that works.
Isn't that the Beetlejuice? Is that what that was?
Is that what he said? The host with the most? Yeah.
I'm Carlos.
I'm Rob.
I'm Wayne.
And we are the Beans and Dice podcast, Thursday night live call-in show coming out of Tampa, the Tampa Bay, greater Tampa Bay area.
Sure,
Yep.
yeah, all over the area. Yeah.
But we take calls from all over the country and the world. We have been known to be international.
Yeah, when we're lucky. Yeah.
Usually the way the show works out is we spend about the first 20 minutes or so just talking about what we got going on, any hot topics that we have, and then we open up the phone lines to allow y'all to interrupt us and then talk about what you have going on game-wise.
All y'all.
All of y'all.
All of y'all.
I'm in the South.
Yeah, all y'all.
Yeah.
Y'all. Yeah.
It's about as far south as the South goes.
Okay, yeah.
I think the
Yeah,
more
pretty close, yeah.
south I drive, the more north it gets.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
How it
We've
feels.
kind of hit the Mason-Dixon line in Tampa.
There
Correct.
you go. Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about geography.
No. More games, geeky stuff.
Yes, and that'll be the plan. Today we'll talk a little bit because August was a little bit about some of the games or all of the games that we played in August.
Yes.
Very few.
Yeah.
I don't know, August, school starting, all that stuff. We haven't done it yet. I know we've talked during the month
Yeah.
about different games that we highlighted, but we never went through the full list.
Yeah, I was looking.
Just
I
kind of like summarize
talked about most of the ones that are on my, like I got 15 on there, but I think we've probably mentioned at least 11 or 12 of them.
Five or
it.
six.
Because we wanted to talk about them while they were hot on our minds.
Sure, yeah.
We'll go through the recent plays channel on our Discord. Message. There is a Discord.
Oh.
Wayne makes me post the link.
Makes you, forces you.
Make you.
Do it.
You keep your job, Carlos. You want to keep your job?
Yeah, do it.
You're going to post that Discord link. I post that Discord link on the description of just about every episode that we post on the show for the videos, as well as every episode of the podcast that Wayne and Mitch put out.
Good
so make
stuff.
sure you follow that link to join us in the Discord where we have chats about all kinds of gaming stuff. I mean, like every week somebody says, what if we had a channel that talked about this?
Oh,
and I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
wish is my command.
Here it comes.
Bam, we got a channel.
It's there.
And then we'll talk about some of the news articles that have been posted in the Discord as well. I love that, how myself, Wayne, and the folks
Yeah.
out in the Discord community will throw in articles to recent gaming things, gaming adjacent geeky things that interest them. So I want to go through that channel as well just to kind of highlight some of those notes. And then hopefully we'll get to some other geeky goodness, catch you all up on what we've been up to gaming-wise.
Lots
And-
of phone calls. Hopefully people are calling in. Call
Is
in.
that a thing?
Tell us what's going on. That's what Thursday night's all about.
It is a call-in show.
Call-in show.
And then on the table, bam, 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 we've got a box that came in. I had a alert come through that Mosaic had shipped my Mosaic playmat, and I'm super excited to see this thing.
It's like a log. I'm hiding behind the log.
Let's save that for the after dark, Rob. All right, so let's get it popping. We're going to talk today about games we played in the month of August. I'll give you all a quick rundown of mine. My list is probably the shortest of them all.
I don't know.
Let's.
I got 15.
We have a competition here.
Yeah.
I got
really
games
got
played,
11.
but I played a lot of them over and over again. So I'm going to start off with August 9th, which I think the week that school started. My wife and I got in a game of Castles of Burgundy, the updated version.
New deluxe, or what do they call that? The special edition, whatever that is.
The
Yeah.
really expensive one.
Yeah,
The
nice
one and only.
This time, though, I made an effort to use the 3D castles. Like, I wanted to make sure I got those to the table. I didn't use them before.
Justify that expense.
Right, I had them on the table, but I didn't use them.
Yeah.
And I didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
So we'll leave it.
I know you suspected you wouldn't, so that just kind of played that out, huh?
Because I'm sitting here doing this, like, okay, trying to, what's behind that?
Yeah, looking around it, yeah.
Or over it, or I got to stand up. So the idea of folks that bought the full 3D setup, right? Because if it's on a table, it's kind of a flat plane. And, these castles get tall. So they start, like, blocking the tiles behind it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to use them again. It makes me feel glad that I didn't go out and get all
in.
of the
Yeah.
3D tiles, just the castles. Played some Mosaic. So speaking of Mosaic, here's our Mosaic. That was our game with Wayne and myself and Rob. That was a great game of Mosaic. Got in some Whistle Stop by Bezier Games. Trying to all that talk of 18xx between Wayne and Nick and our buddy up north, Bowser. I was thinking, oh, I want to get into some train action, and no, Whistle Stop is nice. It is fast. However,
I wasn't gonna go there, but Rob did.
Going after dark.
however, Whistle Stop is not so deep, so
No,
complex.
no.
It was fun.
Yeah.
It was definitely fun.
We played once or twice.
Yeah,
we
once
played,
or twice. Got in a few games of Dogfight Rule the Skies in 20 minutes or less. I recently did the Giveth the Beans when we had our guest host, Dominic, on Dogfight Rule the Skies. Played some Legends of Andor, the full cooperative game from, I believe it's Ravensburg or Cosmos. I think it's Cosmos.
I can't remember.
FFG did it. Fantasy Flight Games did it, but then I think it got reprinted by either Cosmos or Ravensburger. But I kind of got the itch to play it because I saw that Legends of Andor just released their Frosthaven
Is it
version.
fourth one
They're
or something?
in the Frozen North version.
Yeah.
But I got the itch to play it. Man, Legends of Andor is good. Played Expeditions with the guys. Was it last week?
Yeah,
that was last week.
Last
That
weekend?
was last week. So
Yeah,
that
last
was,
week, played
that was
Expeditions.
September, not August.
It's your
but-
September.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
no.
so I'm wondering. I think you're.
I'm out.
I think you're in September. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I don't have some of the games that you said we played together on my August list.
That's all.
So
And-
okay.
And
There we
let's be honest. Before there was Frosthaven, there was Icewind Dale. That predates.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
So, played some of that. Go ahead, Wayne. Take it next because a lot of ours are going to overlap. We were
Yeah, a lot of
two
them are.
game days
I-
together. Yeah.
Yeah, 2 days. I don't really have. August was my second worst month of the year. I've been tracking. It's the first time I've ever really tracked games played by month. And yeah, August and March are my 2 really crappy months. Which spring break, off for a week or more, and then August is our school. Carlos mentioned we played Mosaic. We had the big game day where we played Snowtails, which is a fun little racing game. I'm gonna Bunny Kingdom, which is on my wish list again now because I definitely like that game. I want to buy it.
Find a copy.
Yep. Spoiler alert, that one actually made my top 20 played so far for the year.
Nice.
Yeah. Mosaic's not there yet. I want to play it again before. It's like one of those games that I'm not quite there, sold on it yet. And then I'll let Rob steal the thunder on some of the other games. The other one that I played a bunch in August, it was really sort of getting back to school. My kid and I played a bunch of Rhino Hero Super Battle, which is like we love that because you set it up on the main table and you're stacking the cards and you see how high you can stack it and you have to get on a chair by the time you're done. And I mentioned that because we maybe get to the news story of Haba in a bit and talk about that. But it looks like it's more like just a reorganization thing. But that's certainly interesting that such a big company is having some financial troubles. So. And then just I got the unfortunate again playing a game with my kid a bunch. He loves Unstable Unicorns, which is
Oh yeah.
not
I
what
think
I
that was
call
one that Nick brought and taught, right? At Dice Tower like 2 years
Might have been.
ago
It's
or
been a while
something.
ago, yeah.
It was so awkward.
Yeah, it would. It's one of those card games where it's just all about it's like Munchkinish type of card game, but. I'd say whatever the kid will play, I'll play. So it was fun playing with him, but not a game I would ever play with anybody else, probably. And then Rob, I'll turn it over to you because I've talked about some of the other games on the podcast too in the last. So I'll let you jump in.
Well, I'll run over. So the game day we played Snowtails. I know we had a show where we talked about it, but we played, and again, Xian, Xin', that one. I really liked that game. It was a lot of fun. We played that at that same, like I said, the same day we played Snowtails. We got Pioneer Days in. That's one I'd wanted to play for a long time because I know Z on the Dice Tower was a big fan of Pioneer Days. He talked about that game pretty solidly for a good year and a half, and then it kind of faded off. But I'm glad I finally had a chance to play it because I think it was a solid game. I had a lot of fun with that one. Las Vegas Royale, great little dice rolling, press your luck kind of game.
I got interested when you talked about that one on the show.
That was a lot of fun.
That one really interested me.
Yeah,
That one is really good because I think that one you could easily go to non-gamers. That could be a Thanksgiving day with the family. If you have just like Ready Set Bet, like you bring in the Vegas casino feel, the horse racing feel, like Ready Set Bet, those kind of things. Those are things that are tangible to people that aren't gamers. So you could quickly teach them a couple rules and they would be all about it.
Yeah, and there's kind of a simpler mode, and then you've got those special tiles you can lay out and do a little more complex things with the dice. So it plays to gamers as well as, like Wayne said, just pulling it out with anybody to play it. So that's a good one. That one scales well. Bunny Kingdom, you talked about. I'm a fan also. I didn't love it quite as much as Wayne did, but I do like it. It is a good game. I've played 3 or 4 times now on Board Game Arena, so I'm just continuing to stay engaged with that one. And then Fresco was the other big one from that game day that we got in that I liked quite
and I
a
really
bit.
like that one too. I think where I'm a little bit higher on Buddy Kingdom for you, Rob, is because I have a younger kid. I have a 9-year-old
Sure,
that in my mind I'm like he could get that game and he would understand how to play that pretty easily. Whereas some of the other ones on that game day I like Pioneer Days, I liked Zion, and I liked Fresco. I'm not sure he's quite there for those games.
Sure,
give or take. So I'm big on Buddy Kingdom because I think it's a game I can play with my family and take out to game days. So it kind of is a dual purpose game there.
Definitely. Real simple in the mechanics and good strategy in that one. Some other plays I had. Let's see. Let me look at the dates because it looks like there was a gap. Yeah, it was a good gap of about a week and a half there. I got a game of Ethnos in. I can't remember. I think I played that one with the family. I want to say I played that with the kids. Pagoda. I played a fun little 2-player game. I hadn't played that in a couple of years. I know the Brothers Murph are big on this one. They always talk about this as always on their top 10 2-player games of all time. But Pagoda, I played that with my 11-year-old. Taught him how to play that. He enjoyed it. I got through the box 1, kind of escape roomy-ish kind of thing in a box, which was fun. Enjoyed playing that with my daughter and my youngest son, Ian, the 11-year-old. Game day we had with, was it Michelle and Rachel? Played Woodcraft, and that's actually we've talked.
You said
about
this list was short. This is a good list.
Oh, yeah, it's 15 long, so it's a few. Woodcraft, another one that I want to play again. Again, I mentioned that game kind of stuck in my head. I have not had an opportunity to play that one again, but when it comes up again, I definitely want to play Woodcraft again. Merlin was a lot of fun. Pulsar 2849. I think I mentioned that I didn't love that one as much as I was hoping I would, but another game that I'm wanting to give another try just to see if I missed something there. Fiction. We've talked about this game, so this is getting back to the beginning of the month. Game that
I left Fiction in July.
Yeah, there you go.
You came back to it in August.
August 1st.
Can we leave it in the trash? Can we leave it in the trash?
That was the one I told you might as well just burn. I brought it back to you. I should have burned it before I brought it back. It would have done everybody a service. But yeah, Fiction was not fun. King Domino, another quick game I played with the family. We had a good time with that one. As always, that's a great game for the family. I get my 11-year-old and my 2 teenagers to play that one. And then Role Player, I played that with my daughter and my older son. And another great little dice manipulation, dice rolling game, building a D&D character. A lot of fun. That's I'm going to say that one's almost a classic for me now. I've owned it for quite a while, and every now and then we'll pull that out, and it's always a good time. Everybody always enjoys Role Player. So That's my August.
I mean, I know I talked about I had played Woodcraft at Dice Tower East and really was into it. Played it late at night with a really AP player, and I was like, there's something about this game I kind of like. And I'm interested. You have the same first expression where it's like the first game wasn't fantastic, but there's something that makes you think about it again, and you're like, I need to get this again, because it's like one of those games that might be a kind of like a slow burn of a game where you play it the first time and you're like, but then as you play it, you're like, oh, okay, I get it, so I'm hoping
it stuck with me. The next day, that was the one game from, and I played 3 pretty good games there. Merlin, which is kind of another one that's kind of a classic now, and it was a very solid game. It was a little lighter, but then the Pulsar that I didn't love. Again, I just don't know what I missed on that one. But then that Woodcraft was the one that definitely came back to me. We played several rules wrong. We discovered it as we were playing, so we corrected them during the play. But it's one that now that I know how it works, it's like, I got to try that again, because I can feel the combos in there that I missed the first time around, and I want to try that again to see what I can optimize in that one.
I love the wheel, and as the wheel spins, the quadrants get more enticing. So the action that nobody wanted after it's spun twice, that is now way more powerful, and you want to take it. So it's a really cool sort of power up, or sort of rondelle, I guess, but like just that whole quadrant base of the circle as it goes around. So yeah,
good stuff. Like it.
I have to give Role Player another chance.
Role Player, you weren't a huge fan. I know you.
Once I played it once.
I thought a couple times, but just once.
Once.
Wow.
It was at Dice Tower.
I remember it was Dice Tower,
and we did play it later at night, and I gave it that one shot, and
That's
I was like, oh, I think I
balance in your checkbook.
Yeah, I likened it to balance in my checkbook.
Yeah, there you go.
I think Wayne, you described it as having to give it a second chance.
Yeah, I want to. I've not played Role Player. It's the Woodcraft.
all.
I don't want to get not at all. But I
Woodcraft.
would like to play it. I mean, how many D&D characters have I rolled up over my?
Oh yeah,
36,
you need to play role player if you have any interest in D&D or RPGs. I'd say and
building characters and mid-maxing.
Yeah, I mean, and I can see what Carlos is saying. I mean, every die you put down is allows you to manipulate another die to do these different actions, and you're trying to make each of the lines match up to certain ranges of numbers, and so it is kind of like a spreadsheet. I mean, maybe Wayne would love this one. But
He would.
Yeah, it's kind of like balancing a spreadsheet, trying to make all the numbers end up where you need them to be, so that you maximize your points. And there's a little market you can go to buy stuff that give you set collection bonuses and different little things. But yeah, it's
All right, I'll have to give it another try.
It's a good game. Yeah.
All right, so that is our recent plays in August, and what we'll do now is open up the phone line. So we'll go ahead and get that phone line open. 813-618-7099 is the number. I will take off the Do Not Disturb, and that way y'all can call in and talk to us.
See if there's a rush. Let's see.
Yeah.
So he's gonna be the first
I
caller.
saw Mr. G's asking. I know I responded, but I just circle back to it via voice. I think Rhino Hero and Rhino Hero Super Battle are great games, but you need kind of a little bit of that fine motor, balance. And like
the
4 or 5 year olds,
frustration that a 4-year-old
the hand might be a little too jittery. You need what's the animal stacking game that Haba has too? That
It's animal on animal or something.
Animal on
animal.
Yeah.
That start with that, and then because Rhino Hero's card is basically you're making a card house, stacking cards. So.
Well, since you
But
mentioned
it's a
Haba,
fun
should we
game.
just touch on that?
Well, let's go
Yeah.
through.
Okay,
Let's
so
go
the
through
comments?
the. Yeah,
Okay.
I've got a.
Oh, you got
itinerary.
Itinerary.
Let's go through the.
You didn't send it to me. Yeah.
It's on the shared drive.
Oh, okay.
We'll go
Is
through the
it,
comments
though?
real quick. Kind of say hi to the folks in the comments. We got James Odak popping in saying, "What's in the box?" And Kyle promptly spoils it with playmat.
Playmat.
Thanks, Kyle. But Odak comes back with 7. He's just making a reference to 7 here. That's what that was.
In the box.
Yeah. So,
Messed up movie,
What's in the
man.
box?
Kyle asked about Rhino Hero. Then Wayne answered his question on that. Odak says, I liked role player.
He played it not too long ago. I think it was Tampa Gaming Guild. I think I walked in on a game. It was right before we played Expeditions. He was playing role player with some people. I didn't realize sounds like maybe that was your first play, but I didn't realize that was your first play. But I'm glad you liked it. It's a solid game.
And then Daryl says, interested in woodcraft. It sounds interesting.
You'd like it, Daryl. I just knowing a little bit about your taste in games, I think Woodcraft is definitely something you'd like.
Yeah, definitely a cool little game.
All right, so what we'll do next is pop into the recent played chat on the Discord and share some of those. So I'll share my screen here.
Nerdy Needs, that's right. It was the, I said Tampa Gaming Guild. I think it was the event for the Brandon Board Gamers. That's what it was. Yep.
So y'all get a little insight here. This is our Discord, and this channel is called the On the Table recently. So these are games that have been on our table, on your table, on all the folks that are in here. Starting off at the bottom, we got Sammy Jam.
Sammy Jam.
And it's Arc, right?
Arkwright? Yeah.
Arkwright, is that what that is?
Yep, Arkwright.
Yep.
How do I zoom this in? There we go. Go Gadget
There you
Eyes.
go. There you go.
Anybody familiar with Arkwright? I'm not.
I know it's complicated. I can look it up real quick on the BGG. I think it's got a fairly high
None of us played it?
complexity rating. No, I haven't played it yet.
Well, she didn't say much about it. She just said Arkwright.
Yep.
That was no
Arkwright.
review.
Even
No.
James Odak, the master of the heaviest games possible. Arkwright is like homework.
Oh yeah. I heard it's pretty heavy.
Achievement unlocked there. We got some hearts on this one. Heart reactions here. This was our man Ron Talks Tabletop. Big game of Champions being played last weekend, and he's got photos of his Marvel Champions setup. This here looks so cool. These comic book style art. You can see the user interface on the card itself. So like the powers, the stats, the abilities, but they did it in a way
Like
that
a
it looks
comic
like.
book, a comic book cover.
When I first saw it, I instantly thought of Comic Hunters
Oh yeah.
that Wayne
a
owns.
little bit. Yeah.
Kind of
Yep.
that feel.
So Arkwright is a
4.6.
weight of 4.59. Yeah, it's 4.6.
That's crazy.
120 to 240 minutes long.
Yeah. No thanks.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm out.
Pretty much.
Kyle says he loves that Wolverine one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looks nice.
All right, and let's keep rolling up. Seeing else what we got in here. BJ Board Game Gumbo, our man in Louisiana. Here's his copy of Unmatched, and I think this is the one with Miles Morales and I believe Doctor Strange in that set. That's one of the most recent
was,
sets
yeah.
of Unmatched. That looks so good. I've been playing Unmatched on the digital.
Oh yeah.
So I have it on the Android app. So I've been playing it there. Kind of boring because it only comes with like Alice in Wonderland, Arabian Nights. What's the
Aladdin?
Aladdin.
No, not-
or it's
I
not Aladdin. It's
He's got the swords.
yeah.
And then I can't remember the third one.
I don't know. I don't know the Unmatched. stuff
King
that well.
Arthur. Those
King
are the
Arthur, is
first
that it?
three.
Okay.
And that's all you get when you buy the app. You got to DLC all the other ones.
Of course,
So it's like-
microtransactions.
I know. I'm thinking about it.
It's like
So-
Daryl's
yeah.
maybe the genie. Is it genie? That
No, that's the new one.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's it's not, I would say Alibaba, but it's not Alibaba either. It's who is it? Yeah, I know who
It's
it is.
old literature.
Yeah,
It's
he's
like
got a beard. He's got the
Right.
swords.
Sam
yeah.
saying Sinbad.
Sinbad.
Sinbad. There you go.
Yeah.
That's
There
it.
we go.
There you
Not the '90s rap
No,
artist.
rapper.
Yeah, done. Yeah, she came late because she was still
Comedian.
finishing up Arkwright from a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, there you go. Takanu.
Yeah,
On
right
the list
here.
of the
There's
sun.
Daryl, right? This
Yeah.
is Daryl, right?
Yeah, I think he was playing it solo. If I remember, he was playing against the AI, the auto bot.
I'm not familiar with Takano.
I have not played it yet, but it's one I definitely want
I like
to play.
I like the board. I like the obelisk in the middle there. Like, it's very very cool.
Yeah,
It's
it's
not,
got a
not one of the T
complicated-
games I've played yet though.
complicated thing about certain dice can be used during the day, certain dice can be used at the night. So kind of a dice drafting, if I remember. But yeah, sounds like fun. Samantha says almost 6 hours.
Oh my goodness. You could play TI4. Well,
great.
not really.
No, not quite.
I like this going through our players, like the folks, the beans at home, as I call them.
Reliving.
Let's see, who was this in the chat? This was One Mic, One Game.
Oh, up north.
A study in Emerald, Zoo, Vandis, Samurai, and Impulse. Let's check out these pics.
That's
Mike
Dune.
Delicio's,
Dune. That's
right?
Dune.
That looks like Dune.
Yep, that one's
Yeah.
Dune.
That's Dune. Yeah.
He mentioned they didn't get to finish that game. They had to wrap up after the second round. He was talking about how disappointing it was.
The game itself?
Yeah, they only got through 2 waves.
Ugh.
They were like 2.5 hours in. They only got through 2 rounds.
I guess be grateful.
Yeah.
Beans and Dice podcast. Hi, Ron. Let me just stop even pretending. Hi, Ron.
Good evening, folks.
How you doing, Bobby?
How are you, Ron Frazier?
It's Slow News Week. We're talking about recent plays on the Discord. Is that what's going on?
That's what's going on.
That's where we're
Changing
at.
it up a little bit. Yeah.
You hit the nail on the head.
Guys, talk about apiary. I
No.
don't remember if that was
We talked a little bit about apiary at the end of
Last
last
week,
week's
yeah.
episode. I think it was Aaron from Ohio wanted to get our thoughts on it, so we kind of went through a little bit of that. But outside of that, we haven't talked much else today, at least.
Oh, well, I mean, there isn't a whole lot to talk about, right?
Right.
I mean, it's just an announcing some pictures and please go buy this game, right? Like that's all we got. So it looks cool. I mean, that's part of the appeal of a board game, unless you're completely not into a theme whatsoever. You're just totally fine pushing around cubes and multicolored boards in colors of various shades of brown and orange.
I think Diego talked about it in one of the channels, and I'm trying to find it. He had dropped some prices on it.
On
I think he said, yeah, on apiary.
it's going to be like in this. It's if you're a Stonemaier champion with discount, it's going to be in like that $60 range.
Was a picture of it right
For
at the edge
those,
where
it's
you
going to be in
stopped.
the yeah. I think retail is going to be in the $80 range, 80 to 90.
Yeah, he said it was like $50
Yeah.
for champions,
50 to 60
Um,
in that range. Yeah.
between $50 and $60 for champions.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No.
So, question for you guys: have any of you got a chance to play Last Light?
I have
Yes.
played it at Wayne and I played it at Dice Tower East. Yep.
They just posted a review about 6 hours ago.
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah,
I saw
I
it
haven't
Yeah,
seen
on-
I
it.
thought
on
they
Dice Tower.
they handled it pretty well. I mean, given the potential bias of it being Tom and Chris and them. Yeah. Go ahead, Ron.
Right. Yeah. It could have been like they could have. It was a slippery slope, right? Like, here's Tom is an employee, but for the other guys, it's a coworker and a close friend, and like who spent 8 years or so, designing and developing this game, and it's like if you go too easy, you get called out. If you go too hard, we could potentially get called out, but more likely you can hurt your friend's feelings, just because you're trying to swing the pendulum the other way, you swing it too far the other way. But yeah, I have to say, like, I felt like they handled that pretty well, and I've shared with my experience playing last night before, and it's not a replacement for TI4, right? And none of those guys would say that, but like, if you want the 4X experience in 90 minutes, it's pretty good. I mean, Roy even, like, I think he ran a 12-player game of it at Dice Retreat recently, and he still said it took 90 minutes. One of the criticisms of the game that the guys shared on the Dice Tower review was that, like, at the larger player count, you can just forget about knowing what's going on the other side of the board.
Yeah.
And that was true. Like, I played in an 8-player game, and that's totally true.
Yeah. Although with spinning that middle wheel, you're always up in everybody's face, because if you move forward to those planets, or those I guess they're planets, not galaxies or whatever, those planets that give you the more points, that wheel spins and it constantly is moving stuff that you're feeding out of your base. I don't know what they call it there, the mothership there, where you're building all your ships and you're putting them into play. So you get them out there, you do a little bit of exploration, and then the board spins, and now you're directly in front of the person to your left's base. And then if he doesn't attack them and kill them all, it's going to spin again. And then now all of a sudden, the bulk of your fleet is on the opposite side of the board, over in somebody else's face. So it's
does it feel like you put like a platter on a lazy Susan and you're just watching it get picked apart?
A little bit.
As it goes around the table.
You're hoping
But then that happens to
you.
everybody. Yeah, I think in the bigger games, what happens is you can follow what's going on the main board a little bit. It's paying attention to what other people are building or doing on their little mini board, and maybe what fleets they're initially putting out before they move out to spin. It gets a little more difficult with the bigger player count. I think they were very obviously they rated it highly, but they rate a lot of games very high. I didn't think it was out of the ordinary.
Okay, you said that, and I've been thinking it. I feel as of late, everything has skewed like 8 up.
Really?
Yeah,
like I liked it. It was an 8.
Well, it is
Whoa,
like
I kinda
anytime
hold
they
my
do,
eights back.
anytime they do like a group review, it's going to be a game they love, and then all the games they don't love, they throw in those like fast reviews, like 10 games in 20 minutes. Here you go. These are the games that we would kill. But no, I think Tom hit. So go ahead, Ron.
Oh, I was about to say, I just watched a review of Forbidden Jungle, and there were no 8s in that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't see Forbidden Jungle yet, but there was one I watched last week that was a group review, and they were at 6.5 and 7s. I can't remember what game it was, so they're not all.
They're not all.
High,
yeah.
So yeah,
they really skewered the new Jungle game, man. They were like,
oh, did they really? I haven't watched it
yeah,
yet.
they
I
trashed
gotta
it.
see that one.
Pretty good, yeah. But I was gonna say, I think Tom hit it good. Is it doesn't replace TI4. It's not. It is a 4X-ish experience, but it kind of sits in its own like category, because it's like this such a fast-playing game for a large group to get like that experience of the combat and the interactiveness of the 4X.
Ron, I know a lot of us chased down a play of that at the Dice Tower East, and I know that I was not one of them. And the reason I didn't chase down an opportunity to play it, was because of what Wayne just said. It's that it's kind of 4X-ish, and the last time I chased that trap down was Tapestry, and I walked away so disappointed that like I'm afraid to like jump out in love or like hyping First Light and it not meeting my TI4 expectations. So I'm going to let that one kind of naturally make its way to my table. When the game is out in retail and it's in circulation, you're hearing more about it, then I'm going to chase a play of it. Ron, I know you played it. Rob, Wayne, I think you guys played it.
Yeah, I just want to throw in here real quick that I'm wondering now, in thinking back on it and talking about it, and I would say it's definitely 4X. It's got all the 4Xs, and we've talked for years, or I've talked for years, and I've heard other people talk for years about wanting to get a 4X game that only lasts, 2 hours, and how great that would be, and being able to do that and have that same feeling. But now thinking back on it, I don't know that I really do want that, because when you're talking 4X, this does all of the 4Xs, but each one is kind of shallow into the 4X. That's the only way you're going to be able to do that and keep
it's like
the
you're
game
dipping
under
your
2
toe
hours.
in it. Like the exploration is you're not really exploring because the planets are all there. All you're doing is going there and flipping over a tile.
Flipping over a tile, and once it's
which
flipped once,
shows
it's done. That's it.
Done.
So
yeah. The
Yeah.
Exterminator is definitely there because there's a lot of combat and a lot of ships are getting messed up and things like that.
Yeah.
So explore, exterminate,
Exploit,
expand.
explore,
You are expanding.
and
You're not really expanding in that you're just racing to the center. I'll say this: I really did like the game. I actually really enjoyed it.
I liked it. Yeah.
My biggest problem is the price. Like, just the base game is over $100.
The
Right? Or
production,
something like that. And then the so that's why I didn't even Kickstart it because it was just too expensive. That's my biggest problem with the game is the price.
Yep.
How do you feel about those answers, Ron?
Like I'm with those guys 100%. Like I wanted a 4X experience that was under a TI4, but I played Eclipse. I played the other game, Exodus Proxima Centauri. A couple other games, and I've come to the conclusion that like the only games that really give me a full fleshed out 4X experience are those games that take like 6 hours or longer.
Yep.
But I'm fine with that.
Jim Odak says in the chat, Jim Odak says, if it's not 4 hours long,
It's crap.
it's all caps. It's crap. It's crap.
Yeah. I had the fortune of having a group, until COVID kind of scrambled things, of being able to play, a Twilight Imperium game just about every year. So, like, I would get at least one play. And so, kind of miss those days.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's all I got to say. My phone's at the end of its charge. I just had a couple of thoughts on last night. Wanted to call in and share.
Nice. Thank you much, man. Appreciate you calling
always.
and opening it up every
Yeah.
week, reminding folks it's a call-in show.
Yep.
We'll
Sam
talk to
points
you next
out-
week.
See you, bro.
I just saw
Sam
that
points out that
$52
Last
on
Life.
Borlandia.
Well, I just looked at that. Borland is $59.99,
Okay.
68 on Game Nerds, or 58 on Game Nerds. That's cheap. I mean, that the Kickstarter wasn't that
Wait,
cheap.
for Last
Like,
Light?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
That
it doesn't
was-
come with like the
that's
crazy
yeah,
planets.
you're
Right?
not
planets
getting-
and all that.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like, I would need to see. That's the full bust out. Like,
But I wasn't happy with that.
regular-
Like they look like super balls, like the super bouncy balls.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like
yeah.
it just.
I mean,
the production was.
what are
Well,
you
don't
really
forget.
gonna do?
But what can you do in
Yeah,
space?
really,
They're
yeah.
planets.
Yeah,
Like,
what are you gonna
Well,
do?
you got to remember the copy that was at Dice Tower East was a pre-production final copy. So what it's like, even he said the models of the ships were different because he said when he
Yeah.
did the 12-player game, he used models from his copy because the models were different. So even though it's
Yeah.
the same color, the models. So I would want to see a retail version or pictures of it
haven't
to
seen it
see.
yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was just too pricey for what the Kickstarter. Because I remember the Kickstarter was like over $100 for it was right around 100 for the base, and then for like the super cool one, it was like $180, and I was just like, no, as much as I would be interested in it, I just can't pull the trigger on that. So, but for $50-$60, I probably would.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
yeah,
it's got
50,
its
60
place.
bucks. I'll play it with cardboard.
Yeah, it's got its place. Yeah.
Let's see here. Actually, we'll run through these recent plays from this last week that our folks on the Beans and Dice Discord. If you haven't heard, join the Discord.
Reverse.
Phone lines open 813-618-7099. This one drew a lot of conversation.
Yeah, I did. I haven't played it yet.
The placement or of the pictures of Reavers of Midgard. Rob, you have not played?
I have not played Reavers. No, I've been hearing about it for a while. I kept hearing Champions was the better game, but it sounds like from some of the people in our chat here in the Discord, a lot of the Euro-y players like Reavers better. I know Reavers is a little more complicated. If I understand correctly, it's a little longer. It's a little thinkier. But I don't know. I like Champions quite a bit. I like the dice rolling, even though I don't normally like dice. I think that's kind of fun. But I have had games of Champions go bad because I've rolled poorly, and it's made for a less than fun experience. But I don't know. Now I'm interested in trying Reavers.
I am too. The conversation that was brought up after this on the idea of which one's better really got me interested. All right, we got a call coming in. Let's see what this is. Beans and Dice podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Sam calling from Zephyr Hills,
Hey, Sam.
Florida.
Hello, Sam.
Hey.
How are you?
So I heard you. Oh, good. How are you guys?
Good.
We are well.
Sorry, I'm a little out of breath. I just got off the elliptical, so I was like, let me call and talk about Reavers.
Absolutely.
So I didn't hear the last couple things you said. Rob, you were talking about it. What were you saying about it? That you heard about it?
I would just say, well, it's. Have you played both? Have you played Champions also?
Yeah. So I played Champion times over the years. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was just saying, from what I understand, Reavers is more of a Euro game. It's a little thinkier. It's obviously less luck. I'm going to think because there's no. There's no dice. There are still dice, but it's just a little bit different with the mechanisms and the way that you use them. But I understand it's a little longer. It's a little thinkier. It's a little more Euro-y, what we'd call a Euro game.
We call it here in Beans and Dice in Tampa. We call that.
Yeah.
Nobody else does.
No,
You call it just you guys.
Gamers.
Only you guys
That's what
use that
gamers
term.
call it. Euro-y.
Let's go to someone who knows the game. Talk about Reavers.
Yeah, so Champions of Midgard, like I said, I've owned that one for many years, so I've played it a bunch. And as you guys know, it is a Euro game where you're moving your people and collecting things, getting dice. But it's really based off of the luck of those dice rolls, man. Those can really make or break you in that game, and being prepared, right? So you always want to be over-prepared for everything that you do to succeed. And then probably a little bit of set collection because you get those extra points from having the red, the yellow monsters, the blue monsters. I forgot their names in Champions of Midgard. But so it seems pretty straightforward. I really like it. And then I got Reavers of Midgard from Dan when he sold his copy. So he has like this nice deluxe copy, everything sleeved. So I finally broke it out and played it for the first time, knowing nothing about it prior to playing. And it was so different. I was expecting it to be similar, but it really wasn't. There is everybody, if you're in a 3-player game, or no matter how many people are playing the game, every year or round, you get 4 turns. And that's split up amongst everybody. So if you're in a 2-player game, each of you guys get 2 turns. If you're in a 4-player, you each get 1. And I thought it was really neat because I played with 3 players. So each of us got 1 turn. And then it rotated because there's 6 rounds. Everybody got an extra turn every round. Now, your first player marker can be won at certain spots, like a lot of Euro games. So the first player may be different. But even at the end, if you're the last player and it's your turn to take that extra turn, you get 2 turns in a row. Now, everybody on that action that you do also can take that action. So I thought that was really cool. But you have to be able to pay for it. So you can kind of screw people over by kind of looking at what they have. Oh, they can't pay to fight. I'm going to score 20 points this round or this turn, and they can't do it. So you can kind of play them that way.
The Rob way?
I think it's really cool that...
The Rob way.
The Rob way.
Yeah, if you can do something nobody else can do, do it
over.
for sure. Yeah.
And if I can stop you from doing it and take it before you do, even though it may not be the most optimal thing for me, it's goodly optimal, which is not the most optimal, as long as it pokes you in the eye.
That's not what she was saying, but yes, she was saying that you can do, but nobody else can do, so you can get those points. But close enough, yeah.
And then everybody gets a little bonus. It tells you underneath there if you get a bonus for that turn. So the first player always gets a bonus. The second player may get a less of a bonus for that. And then the third and fourth player may or may not get a bonus. So that's kind of cool. But that's not it on your turn. because again, if you have 6 rounds and everybody only gets 4 actions, and some of those actions aren't even your chosen actions, right? You're kind of thinking, how am I going to win this game? But you also can tuck cards. So reavers are the people that go out and pillage. You collect the reavers. And when you collect your reaver, that's when you get dice, the dice that are on that board. You roll them and put them out. You can choose to keep it as a leader. You can choose to chuck them, to set a die to any face value, grab a new die and set it to any face value that you want. Or you can tuck it under your board and do actions on, so it's like on the actions on the bottom, there's 4 action spots and they correspond with what is on the board. So if it's raiding and you want it and you tuck it under your raid spot, you'll get that extra action anytime you do raid. And you don't even have to do the action. So say my son Ryan did the raid action. I couldn't pay for the raid, but it doesn't matter. Everybody gets to do their extra bonus actions on their cards that are tucked before you can take that action, or before everybody takes that action. So that's why I was saying Wayne probably wouldn't like it, because even I got aggravated. Every turn, we would go somewhere. We would all do our bottom actions. We're sitting there waiting. Everybody's doing these bottom actions. Some of them's like getting cards, and you got to figure out which cards you want. It could take forever. It felt really good. Like the combos felt amazing. Don't get me wrong. But then you had to do the action, and then that person did the action, and that person did the action, and this person did their bonus, and then that person did their bonus. So one turn took forever. And we play games fast in my house, but it still took an hour and a half, 2 hours to play it. So, but it was really good. But don't you guys feel like those are like unique things to kind of bring together? I didn't expect that.
Yeah. It seems interesting.
Anyway.
I think I would be really annoyed with the first play, but then as we played it more and more, I would be, as things get faster, people could probably move a little faster with it.
Yeah. And it's pretty. Isn't that what you said, Carlos? That it looks like it's appealing to look at.
Yeah, but then I know my biases. Like I know I have an active bias with regards to this game, and it happens a lot to me with a lot of different things. If I love a thing and another thing comes out in that vein, it's somehow related, like I like no, that's not gonna be as good because I already love this thing, and nothing could ever beat Champions of Midgard. Like there's no better game period than Champions of Midgard. So the idea that the same company put out a same similar themed game, I know my biases. Like that's probably why I've never even reached out to play it or sought it out, right? Because I don't want to be like, well, now I have to admit I've been wrong for all these years saying that Champions is the best.
Yeah, something better.
Reavers could be better.
Yeah, it could be.
It's just it's how my brain works.
So just stay away from it.
Right, I stay away from it. That way I never have to admit it could be better.
Okay.
I can appreciate that. So that is hilarious because the company put it out to get you to play it because you like Champions of Midgard. But you're actually saying, hey, that actually turns me off. You guys did bad. You should have did something else with that game.
Different theme, it's maybe picked a different name, so don't.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
That is funny.
Yeah, it's probably why I'm not going after First Light too. Like I already love TI4, so if I play First Light and I really love it, now we spent all these years playing TI4.
Should have been playing First Light,
right?
First Light just came out.
Well, do you feel that way about Twilight Inscription?
I haven't touched it because I don't want to have to compare the two.
So okay, I was just curious.
I hear mommy getting called, man.
Like somebody's calling for you.
Y'all have to remember, it's how we game.
Yeah.
Right?
Or
That's how I game.
As parents,
why do you think all my games at home are fast? I play with my 2 kids. I'm like, let's hurry up because the little one's coming.
Well.
She's speaking us out.
It's how we game as parents,
like,
as
mom's
dads
off
and moms,
the
as
elliptical,
gamers.
man. I gotta get my
right. So we keep it real here. This isn't like Tim Schwan, right? Where everything is so perfectly produced and immaculate.
Yeah,
no.
But I
We're
want to know,
messy.
like, Sam, it's past her bedtime, man. Let's go.
Got almost 10 o'clock.
That's what
so
Odak just said.
She doesn't go to sleep till 10 because we don't want her to wake up till 10.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, so that works for us. She doesn't go to school. Well, I take that back. She just started going to school, but her school doesn't start till 10 as well. So she actually wakes up earlier that day. So normally she is going to sleep about 9, but I wanted to do the elliptical. I got on it late. Grandma came over. So we're allowing a little bit later.
Stuff happens.
Hey,
You don't have to explain yourself to
Yeah.
Wayne.
Yeah, we're just being funny.
No. I totally agree. If I could make her go to bed at 8 and wake up at 10 at the same time, then I'd be on it. She's like, you need your beauty rest.
Yeah.
But I did want to talk about Arc Right. So I knew nothing about that game either going in. I don't look at DGG ratings on their scale or how much people love them. Just somebody wanted to play it. I'm like, cool, let's play it. He started teaching it. I knew it was an economic game by what they said. They said it was a Euro economic game. So I went in and the teach took forever, but it's just all math. So if you ever wanted to be an accountant or you like balancing checkbooks, that is your game. If not, and I know that sounds weird, but it actually makes me happy. So when you balance your checkbook and everything comes out right, and then you can invest and save money, that's the feeling you get when you play Arkwright. It's really weird. And it's hard because you have to go buy companies. There's 4 companies, and you have to go and purchase them. You have to constantly upgrade them. So there is that theme there. If you don't upgrade them, then you have to fix them. And you have to pay more employees to fix it. So it was kind of cool, but it definitely took almost 6 hours to play that one game. And that is something that would keep me from wanting to play it again. I really
What's
like
the
it,
setting,
but like
though?
you guys,
So like
Industrial
brass,
Revolution.
Industrial Revolution, England. What's the setting for Arkwright?
oh, Jim, chime in the comments if you remember. It was, because I played with Jim.
Who cares?
It was 1700. It was 1700s, some kind of industrial age. I can't remember, but it was set in 1700s, and it was a decade at a time. So you would build 4 companies, or you could run up to 4 companies. So
18th century
all played
Industrial
different.
Revolution-ish, kind of like brass.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure with all the
Yeah,
beige if it was more ancients, because there seems to be a lot of beige on this game.
That's what the
ugly.
original version of brass looked like, almost same kind of color
Yeah,
palette.
Settle down there, Wayne. You're getting excited about all the beige.
No,
it was.
not 6 hours worth of
If
it.
you, it is brass on steroids. It is so much more math than brass. Because I had this one card called school, and every time I could shut down one of my lines to produce, because you have to pay for your workers. And if I shut down my line, how much would I get for that versus if this? So you would have to take out how much you would get, and then pay for your employees, and then minus that. And we had no paper and pen. So, here's Jim and other people are doing it in their head. I'm busting out my calculator. I'm like, I'm not doing all that and trying to figure it out. And then you have to have the most shares at the end to win, which is probably like a lot of the 18X games. It kind of felt like that to me. I played 1830 once with the same people pretty much, and it was similar.
Yeah, that's what it
Each
sounds like a
player
little bit to me. Yeah.
It was a good game.
calculator. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
if I gotta break out a calculator, if I'm breaking out a calculator other than just to quickly do final scoring in a game, I'm out.
Yeah, little too mathy.
I do
It's-
enough of that during the day.
and it's basic math. It's just you have to remember what you have to take away from this and then add this. Because if you ship, now you are adding your shipping price to that end value as well. So it was just too many numbers to remember. So I just went ahead and did the calculator. But it's all simple multiplication. But anyways, yeah, you're right. It was work, but I'm not going to lie. I really like that because I'm probably one of the rare people that got excited when I came home with math homework and it felt like a puzzle.
Ugh.
You guys felt that way?
No.
I usually did my
Okay.
math homework before I came home. So
Exactly. Yep. I did it all before I even left school. So
I just told my mom I didn't have any.
yeah. Well, that too.
I'm the one that did those extra bonus activities at the bottom because that, the hard ones to try to see if I could figure it out if it was like a puzzle. Yeah.
She didn't speak
I'm not
English,
saying I
so
was great at
she couldn't call the teacher and confirm. So I was like, "No, mommy, no homework,
No
mommy.
homework. Not again.
Watching Univision. Sábado gigante. Let's go."
That's awesome. Well, thank you guys
Thanks for
for
chatting
letting
in.
me call in and talk.
awesome, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
I did think about you. Maybe one of you guys could put in, because I can't remember the Beans exact criteria, because I actually thought about you guys, because Dice Tower actually said amazing things about the game Viral. Have you guys heard of that one?
Oh yeah, I played it.
We played it.
We played it at Dice Tower years
Oh,
ago.
you have played it?
Yeah.
Did you guys like it?
Yeah, I liked it.
We didn't love
It's
it.
simple. It's not overly
You didn't love
complicated. It's family level. It's
I like the science of it.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
the different the anatomy piece.
Is it
Yep.
in Viral from the company that where the designer is like a biologist and his games tend to be very anatomically or biologically correct?
Educational, yeah.
Educationally, yeah.
It's not the Cytosis brand, like the one
Right.
that did Cellulose
Okay.
and
It's
Cytosis. It's not
Genius
that
Games
one.
or whatever.
It's,
Yeah, it's not Genius.
Okay,
yeah,
so
it's
not
actually by
Genius.
Arcane Wonders.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, definitely
But
not that. Then.
I was thinking about the Beans criteria because the components in that are crap. Did you guys? I don't
They
know.
are.
It's been years
Yeah, they
now.
were
You guys
just
might not
crappy
feel that way.
chits.
Yeah, they weren't anything special. Yeah.
But I like the feel of almost
would-
like a area control, like a battle-y type feeling. Like you're using your different types of viruses to attack different areas, and
Although, and speaking of components, though, the one we played was Tom's Vassal's copy, so he actually had all this stuff upgraded. It was all little virus-looking
yeah, it
different
was
things and,
this
wooden,
Oh.
wooden pieces and everything. So he actually, I know what you're talking about, though. The retail version is kind of crappy, but Tom's, his upgraded copy had all the cool stuff in it.
Yep, but to answer the question, give us the beans. That's BEANS. Basics, enjoyment, aesthetics, negatives, and summary. And last week we had a caller. Oh my God, how did I forget his name already?
I don't remember who it was
Chris.
either. Was it Chris? It might have been
Yeah.
Chris.
Yeah,
It was Chris.
who was the first caller to ever give it the beans on a game he played. So thanks for the shout out there and a reminder to you folks that is a way to call in, is to give us the beans on a game you played. BEANS. Basics, enjoyment, aesthetics, negatives, and your summary.
I'll have to do that next time and just instead of generically giving you my. But I couldn't remember the Beans.
Yeah, we did think
what it
about it.
meant.
I was gonna say we should
So.
probably should have mentioned it when we got in dark right there that you could run down the beans.
Oh,
but-
that'd been easy.
Yeah.
Beans, math, enjoyment, math.
Oh, yeah.
Aesthetics, math.
Gray or tan.
So instead of money, there they use the poker chips for everything.
Oh,
so
that's always cool.
That is nice. That we always substitute for that. So that gives that extra little
Yeah.
something in there. So
Cool.
Cool.
All right. Oh, and Haba. Sorry, I know I'm over my time. Haba. I had to restrain myself from going out there and buying all of the games.
Yeah.
When I heard that. But did you hear, Wayne? Because I know you're the one that brought it up. You listened, I'm guessing, to Dice Tower, like how many people they fired versus how many they actually have employed.
Yeah. I've read a couple articles. I've been doing some research, and then BJ also chimed in. So they, Haba has 2,000 plus employees
Right.
as a company. So like they're big in the board gaming world. That's and so if they let go a couple hundred employees, it sounds like a lot, but that's 10% or 20% of their workforce, which is pretty standard when companies downsize to get rid of 10 or 20% of your workforce. And from what I found a couple of different. I found an article in French and one in German that I did Google Translate on, and basically it's during the pandemic and even after they Haba is way more than just toys. We know them for toys, but they do clothing and furniture and like just anything kids. They're kind of
That
like
was crazy to me.
In Europe, yeah.
in Europe. They're like IKEA for kids in Europe, I guess is a good way to say it. And apparently
want
their
that.
clothing line has crushed them. And so they're basically getting rid of their clothing line and focusing on just furniture and toys.
And that made me happy that they were just getting rid of that and they're going to keep the games because they really are. Their games are produced so well. You get like the crappy US games for kids, the Yahtzee, it's like super thin cardboard, super crap. And then you spend about the same price on a Haba game and it's huge wood, chunky pieces that are colored and bright. And their rule book is amazing. It's a book written in all these different languages. It's just awesome.
Yeah. And I can't imagine that their board games aren't considered games and toys.
Yeah, it's got to be in the
like
toys.
It's
yeah.
in their toy line. Yeah. So, But yeah, I mean, they've been
Yeah.
around forever too. They've been, I think it's like a 60 or 70-year-old company or something like that. It's not a new company. So from what BJ posted, he said that and BJ's a lawyer, I guess, and so he kind of knows some of this stuff is,
But not
they're
your lawyer.
but not
don't
lawyer,
listen to
your
him.
lawyer.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes. Is that because German? I mean, it's German law, so it's gonna be different than American law. But he said he thinks that it's sort of like Chapter 7. Chapter 7 is just a reorganization. It's like, hey, we have some debt we need to get rid of. We have some reorganization and company shedding to do, but we're okay. We're not going to go away tomorrow. It's not like Chapter 11 where it's like sell everything and close the doors. So I think they'll be fine. But it is kind of shocking that such a big name, big company, huge company, is going through some problems, which is also interesting because I have another comment that I'll give later, but because I don't want to tie up Sam anymore. So.
Yes, sorry. I know I took a
No,
lot.
no.
I took double time.
No, you're allowed
Thank
to.
you guys for talking to me about games.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it. You guys have a good night.
Thanks
I'll
for calling.
listen
You
to the
too.
rest, and I gave a thumbs up.
Thanks, Sam.
All right, bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Sam. So I was gonna say, like,
how about like walk into the bank and just yell out, "I declare bankruptcy"?
Yeah. I mean, by declaring bankruptcy, it allows them negotiating power over their debtors. So if they owe money to a company or to a creditor, they now have leverage to negotiate that debt, and then reorganize. But what was interesting too is that I've seen a couple articles, the Flat River Group or Incisor Group, a couple of the big companies are actually reducing the prices of some of their major games because the shipping prices are back down considerably from their pandemic highs. And even Jamie made a comment on his post this week was that the shipping stuff from China to America, as far as, large scale freight is back down considerably in price to almost pre-pandemic levels, which is interesting because shipping like one game, if I was going to mail a game from me to you, it still costs an arm and a leg because shipping costs are high, but like that bulk shipping cost of sending stuff freight has come down considerably to the point where one of the big companies, I can't remember whether it was Flat River Group or the Incisor Group, said that they were reducing the prices of their games back down because their shipping prices have come down considerably and they had only really raised it. So it's kind of interesting that Hob is having some economic troubles, but then also we're seeing some game companies sort of reducing their MSRPs of some of their games back down because the shipping has changed. So it's kind of a weird time right now, I think.
Yeah. All right. Well, we went through our recent plays. We took the folks through their recent plays on the Beans and Dice Discord message. Check out the Beans and Dice Discord. Hopefully, if y'all can keep posting up games that you've played, we can continue to highlight those on the show to not only talk about what we play, but also what you play. Let's go into the news, right? And then that was one of the first ones that was in the Discord chat that was dropped in recently, the Haba thing.
Yeah.
You had an additional comment on that, Wayne?
No, I think that was me just talking about it. I thought it was interesting that Haba, really their problems isn't game related. Their problems is regards to the clothing line related. But I thought it was interesting that while Haba is having financial difficulties and declaring bankruptcy, other major game companies are saying they're going to reduce their prices. So I wonder if a lot of the game companies are realizing that they've maybe priced out of the market gamers with some of the price increases over the last few years, and if they can roll it back a little bit, because even was it the Ravensburger today made some comments about the price gouging on Lorcana being insane.
They did.
And
they announced. They talked about it.
They talked about it. They basically said, one, we're reprinting. So they've already announced set 2,
right?
And they're reprinting booster packs for set 1, and they're doing a full reprint of the original set that's going to come out in early 2024.
Which has upset a lot of people.
Okay, that's bad.
Yeah,
it's a long time.
Well,
because
it's a long time from now. But it's going to drive down all the prices of
right.
the people who are trying to flip it for money.
Right. I don't care about you and your prices, scalpers.
I don't either. Yeah, I don't either. But they specifically addressed and said that they were. I don't know if they said they were upset, but they were not happy with the increase from the MSRP that they've been seeing at the local levels.
The brick and mortars were doing it too, and that's not cool.
There were some brick and mortars that were selling the like 2 and 3 and 4 times MSRP, And even like when I was at Dragon Con, I saw a couple of booths in the dealer hall selling like booster packs for like $20 and like the starter boxes for like 100. And I'm like, get out of here, man. That's just that's stupid, right? And so I think they said that they were going to be taking some steps to curtail price inflation over MSRP. They want all people to be able to enjoy the game at the manufacturer's suggested retail price. What that means and what that is actually going to happen, I don't know. Like, who cares, right? Let's see.
Well, I mean, WotC's got a good way of enforcing a lot of what they do. I would imagine because apparently the brick and mortars didn't even get as much as they asked for. They got like
none,
fraction of what they asked for. And I know WotC will take away, if you don't follow their guidelines, they'll take away your opportunity to buy
Wizards of the Coast, for those who aren't
Wizards of the Coast.
Yep.
Edmund, England. Oh, we get it straight from Europe here. Straight from Europe. Norwegian countries? Sure. Is that still Europe?
Yeah,
okay.
That's Europe. Yeah.
Interesting about Haba. I did not know about that. They were such a big company.
Yeah.
They still are. I mean, they still have 1,800 employees instead of 2,000 employees.
Yeah. Still a lot of people.
Hello in Sweden.
Yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Let's see. In the chat, we continue here. That was Booty by Hershey. Thank you for that Haba
Yeah, that was a good one.
post. That was a great conversation starter.
Kristen.
Kristen.
There we go.
Pants.
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, Wayne, this was you. Battle Card Market Garden.
That was on was Board Game Breakfast on Tuesday?
Yes,
Yeah, it was on Board
I
Game
saw
Breakfast.
Call coming.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name, where you calling from.
This is Jim from Tampa.
Hey, Jim.
Hello, Odak. What's going on?
Gentlemen. I was actually kind of hoping I got to play finally the first session of Solar 175.
Oh, okay,
So
cool.
I wanted to actually give the beans on it.
Nice. Here we go. Here's our beans for the night.
Oh, we're going to get the beans.
Somebody pull up some pictures.
Wait, hit the banner.
Yep.
Give it the beans. And I'll get pictures going, and we'll make this like a true production. You said it was Solar? S-O...
Solar 175, like solar system.
Yep. New campaign. Well, yeah, it's fairly new still. It's less than a year old. A campaign, big space-based. I guess it's considered a campaign, although you can. It's not. It's resettable.
It's legacy. It's more. The legacy is more just adding more to the game, so it's like slowly getting you into the full version of the game.
Okay.
All right, well, give it the beans. Start off with the basics.
So the basics is it's a bag game. Very similar actually to Orleans, where you're pulling out workers and you're filling in spots with particular workers to do an action. And then with those actions, you're exploring the solar system.
So are you pulling out of your own individual bag? It's not a shared collection, right?
Your own individual bag, yes.
Okay.
It's set after the unspeakable war that they don't speak about, which is a really great catch, not having to describe what actually happened.
Okay.
That's like a cop-out.
Generic little cop-out, yeah.
It is pretty cool. You're exploring the universe with those actions. You're gathering resources. You're investing in different areas. I've only played the first two games, so I don't know what actually happened later on yet. But yeah, that's the basics right there.
Okay. So E for enjoyment. What do you find that you like about this game? What's enjoyable?
So actually didn't care for Orleans that much, but I kind of like this one more so. Maybe because it's more exploration.
I think because he was playing the wrong game.
Oh, he was playing something else?
Yeah. Orleans is a great game. I don't know what Orleans is.
Orleans is It's very, very meh.
But I did enjoy the space exploration and the worker placement sort of fulfillment. The one thing I'll say is, and it was kind of everybody who played it, the same thing, is if you read the reviews, they really hyped it up. At least the first couple of games is not nearly as much going on as the reviews say.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm swiping through pictures right now for the folks that are watching online. What about the aesthetics of the game, which includes production value, sure. Components,
production value,
artwork, etc. What do you think about the A for aesthetics?
The aesthetics are very cool. One hard thing you may is there's no actual board. You're actually building out the play area with individual cards. But they're very, the art is, if you like space and solar system stuff, the art's very good.
I heard you
ships are
say
very cool,
cards.
but
You,
actually-
didn't say card stock. You didn't
Yeah.
say tiles.
I was gonna say, what's the card quality? I'm just at these pictures. It doesn't look
It's-
super wonderful.
It's just like the picture show. It is just a card. It's more of a square card than a rectangular card, but it is just, it's not like Expeditions where it's a thicker tile. It is legitimately just a card. What happens is you start out with, I may have the number wrong, like 20 cards that builds out 2 zones. It's like the solar system and then the moons of Jupiter, I think. And then as the game progresses, there's 5 more zones you can get, which will be a number more cards. The player area gets bigger and bigger. But they are flimsy cards.
And that's the thing is in games that do the board building using cards, right? So it's nice because you get this different type of setup each time.
Variable. Yeah.
But all I can imagine right now is Robert.
Oh,
Like
fixing them and correcting them
yes,
the whole game.
every time I would put something down, it might shift a card, it'll overlap another, so Rob will have to go in there and fix it.
Yep.
So the play area where you put your ships and you do the exploration isn't bad. It doesn't flip over. The player boards are actually very nice. They're thick cardboard with the recessed spots for the workers and stuff.
Yeah.
What is annoying is some of the action spots, particularly the orbitals, those things you're looking right there on the screen. Every time you do that action, you got to flip the card over. And that is kind of annoying as far as the aesthetics of it. It would be nice if those were a thicker card. It would be easier to pick up and flip over.
Okay.
But what you see out there in the middle with the spaceships on it, that's fine. It doesn't move around a lot. It stays in place very well. You got a lot of heavy pieces that rest on it that keep it down.
All right, what about you've kind of hinted at some negatives as we went along. Any negatives that really matter to you that stand out that people should be aware of?
I think it was hyped up more, and maybe it's better at the end, but it's definitely not all. They made it sound like it's this huge space exploration, decide the fate of the universe, and the first couple of games is not that.
Yeah.
It's very cool. You're still doing exploring, and you're every game, every session is you're building a mega structure, which is developing your space technology to go farther out into the solar system. That's why you get more zones. So I've sneaked a little bit forward. Once we get to the third game, we'll finally get the other ships. So there's a whole bunch of other ships that are really cool looking, miniatures and stuff. It takes 3 games
tuck
to get
boxes
to,
to get to them, or what do we know?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's all
tuck
hidden.
boxes and envelopes.
You'll be exploring in kind of a legacy style, being surprised. Is this a Borg cube? Like resistance is futile? Is that what I'm looking at here?
No, that's voting. There's one of the actions you could do is to
Put stuff in
vote.
there.
There are different governments, and whichever government wins doubles the end game points for whatever that government represents.
How many games, how many sessions are in a campaign? Do you know?
It's not a finite number. Those mega structures, you have to complete them to get like the next section, and sometimes you could not complete them later on in the game, from what I read. So one of the complaints, maybe you're leading up to that, is that it could be 50 games to finish the legacy.
Whew. Or it could be 2. There's no finite number.
Yeah, there you go. Can be done in 2
In
games.
my
Well,
house,
it could be
2.
more than 2.
That's as many times
You're
I've
done.
played.
It's one way or the other.
I think it's going to be at least 8, I think, 8 or 10.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I was joking. He's
Yeah.
mean, that's a huge
8 or
variance.
10 to 50. Yeah. And what is
And I haven't gotten that far, so
I assume as it gets bigger, the sessions will be longer. So you've just played the first couple. How long did a session take?
Yeah, the teach outside of the teach, the actual gameplay took an hour and a half.
Okay.
Not bad.
It's not a long game to begin with. You play until there's 5 sets of workers that you could buy. You play until 3 of them are out, or someone gets all their orbitals out.
Okay. And how many people are you playing with right now?
We played it with 5.
5. Oh, nice. Okay. I know you were looking for some players.
The retail game is
Go ahead.
Yeah, the retail game is 4. And the Kickstarter has a 5th player.
Okay.
And
No,
is
you're
it the
looking for
kind of
pla-
is Sorry,
I was
Rob.
just saying, when we were looking for players, I was thinking about getting in on it, and then I keep reminding myself how many campaigns I'm already in. So I had to back off of this one. But yeah, go ahead.
And
Wayne.
is it one of those games though
that's the
that
thing.
once you're in, you got to stay in? Like you need to play with the same 5, or is it
No.
the type of campaign where you can bounce in and out?
This is what I kind of figured out after stretching it out a bit. It really won't matter who plays it each time. There is nothing that really carries over. Just every time you advance to the next session, I can't think of the right term for that. It's just adding more to the game. It's slowly bringing you into the full enormity of the game. There's really nothing that carries over. At the end, once you complete the final mega project, there are goals that you can do, and you'll score points for those, and then you'll have an overall legacy winner. But none of that impacts any of the individual games going forward.
So yeah, so unlike maybe like a traditional legacy game where your character or the board state carries forward and what decisions you make in one game carry to the next. This is more like you're slowly unlocking the final game. So instead of jumping into that giant game of TI4, you're sort of building up to it with it sort of adding
It's
more
almost like
modules.
Yeah, it's almost like buying a base game and then adding one expansion every time you play it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool way of doing it. Like if you took I'll use TI4 as example. Like take TI4 and like shrink it down, and then say over 4 or 5 gameplays, build it out to the massive game that TI4 is. That's kind of an interesting concept of taking a game that could be really complex and starting off slow and just building into it after 4 or 5 plays.
I've always joked that TI4 is a legacy game. You just play it all at once.
Yeah, legacy in one day.
That's valid.
Yeah, a little bit.
That's valid because there are many legacy games where you're going to play 1 hour for maybe 10 to 12 times. Or you could play all 12 of those hours, 15,
All at
in
once.
one sitting.
One time.
Yeah.
Never thought about it that way, Odak.
Yeah. Nice. That looks cool.
And then we got summary, so we got to the try, buy, or deny. So where do you come down on this one? I know again, this is your game, your copy of the game. It was your Kickstarter. This is so there might be a little bias there, but where are you looking at as 2 plays in on the try, buy, or deny?
2 plays in, I'm only a try.
Okay.
But I think it's a unique situation where it could be different once you've gotten all the way through it.
Sure. Yeah, you'll have to report back to us as you keep going through.
Yeah.
Does it hold your
Well,
attention?
hopefully I can get it out and get you guys.
Well, I guess the question is,
one of
will
the
it
sessions.
capture your attention? The way you described it so far in the 2 plays you've had that I've heard, it hasn't really got you, it's needles in you, right? It's hooks in you.
It's definitely not as good as I was hoping for. It's still good. I'm still very much wanting to continue, but it's definitely not everything I had hoped for.
Okay. This is one I want to try. I didn't know that I was going to be down for the 8 to 50 sit downs on it, but it is one that if you can, like I say, I believe it's kind of resettable. You can go back and just play the first one again, kind of teach it to people. It'd be one that I'd be willing to jump in and at least try it out.
I think once you get the whole thing done, I think it's pretty modular. You could just choose.
Yeah.
You could use how many zones you want. You can't do like zone 6 without having 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But you can just say, let's
Sure.
do the first 3 zones, and then there's like so far I know like you start out with 5 workers. In the next second game, there's like automated workers to add to it. So yeah, I think it's very playable afterwards, even if you don't reset it.
Okay. Cool.
I wish I had like a sound effect or like an intro outro for Give It the
for
Beans.
Yeah.
We got to get with Joyce on that. Like some kind of like way into and out of those. Because thank you, Jim Odak, for being number 2.
Woohoo! Sam wanted to be, but we held it off for Jim. So yeah.
All right, I don't want to take too long like Sam. So
Oh, all right.
have a wonderful night.
Shots
guys.
fired. Good night,
Appreciate it.
Odak.
Thanks for calling, Jim. We'll talk to you soon.
Take it easy, guys.
Night.
Bye.
Bye. And I got to jump in just on a quick thing, just a little update in my gaming world. So we were talking about those baby steps of taking a giant game and breaking it down and teaching. And we all know, I think if I were just to say it, probably both of y'all would chime in, that there was a game recently that did this really well. I just borrowed it from Carlos. And me and my daughter have started Jaws of the Lion. And the last couple nights, we've been able to play the first three scenarios of that. But that's the epitome of that. I mean, it starts you out with just a couple of cards. That first scenario, all you're doing is just beating up on the bad guys, introduces you to just a couple of the basic game mechanics. Doesn't even have you start collecting experience or anything like that. No short resting, no long resting. It's like, here's some cards, go beat the bad guys.
Then it starts introducing new cards, so you're not worried about learning how to deck build.
Right.
It kind of deck builds for you.
It gives you the first 5. It builds up for you.
The Jaws of the Lion, the first 5 sessions are really well done. And that it slowly rolls you into the game. You start with a deck of cards, and by the time you get through the first 5, that deck's gone. You have your actual deck that you're then going to carry forward into.
Yep.
I need to get back to it. We're probably about halfway through it with my wife. We just haven't. Baldur's Gate 4 came out, and I've lost my wife for a long time. So
saw her playing the other night.
The widower. Wayne the widower.
I was like, I want to play it too.
Was the reset? How was the resetting of it though? Because we played through the first, I think 5 or 6 or something.
The book, man. Book is so easy.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I know we
stickered some of the map
stuff, and yes, that was the big thing, is that it's stickered, so we can kind of see those first 6 or 7 scenarios where it's going to lead to. But I mean, that's fine. Emmy played with us. She filled in 1 or 2 of those sessions we'd played already, so she already kind of knew some of that anyway. So for us, it wasn't as big a deal. But yeah, just going back and resetting the decks. I played enough Frosthaven and Gloomhaven that I knew exactly how to reset everything, how to go back to the beginning. So it took me 10 minutes to reset the whole thing and start over.
Yeah, I was playing it with the whole idea of eventually resetting it. So as cards cycled out, I just flipped them in the packaging.
That's what I did. Yep.
And just left them that way. The only thing, like you said, you have that main board that you're stickering, but that's really, you could just toss out that main board. You don't even need that. That's so just kind of like a superfluous to the.
Yeah, you can take a pencil and paper. There are a couple places where the story splits and you make a decision and you go one way or the other. But you could do that just on pen and paper. You could just draw out a little flow chart and hey, we made this decision. We went that way. Yeah.
It's like a sticker chart for kids. Kind of makes you feel good. We get to do an achievement at the end of the game. Place a sticker. Just feels good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Wayne, you had posted up in the news Battle Card Market Garden. So this is it's like a 1 card or 1 piece of paper.
So it's kind of like it's like a roll and move, roll and battle, World War II based thing. It's going to be coming to Kickstarter, and so they've released this one for free, where it's just Operation Market Garden. You're basically trying to take the 30 Corps of the British from from France all the way through Belgium through the 4 bridges, which is basically, if you ever seen the movie The Longest Day, the Bridge Too Far, Bridge Too Far.
Yep.
And they're going to come out, and it's like you have your own D6s. They're just going to produce the cards, and the cards have all the rules on it, and it's just you play it. And what's interesting is somebody took a game too far, this Market Garden card game, and turned it into a little, I don't know if it's JavaScript or HTML online, where you can just play it for free, and it works really well. I played like 4 or 5 times in a row. It's hard.
Oh geez.
I'll tell you that one. I got crushed.
Wow.
But it's pretty cool. You have the dice, you roll the dice, you roll off against the Germans, you try to conquer them and move forward. But they're going to come out with all these different scenario cards. I thought it was kind of interesting, especially if it's so easily digitized, you could turn it into an online thing. But I like the concept of the Kickstarter is going to be really cheap, I think, because all they're going to do is produce the cards.
Yep.
And then you bring your own D6s.
Yep.
Type thing. I like that kind of idea of. It goes back to the cheap ass games back in the day, where you bought the cheap ass games and it was a bunch of printouts. And
yes, I remember those.
They're going to assume that you have the game Sorry in your house or Clue or
steal some components,
and you can. It literally would tell you, go to this game and grab these pieces from this game, and you can play Kill Dr. Lucky, or grab these D6s and you can play this game. So I think that's, especially when we talk about game prices being expensive, when you can come up with concepts of, we know everyone has a bunch of D6s in the house. We know everyone has a bunch of meeples in the house. Okay, well, we're just going to give you these cards, and you can then just pull pieces from other games and play a game with it. So I thought it was kind of cool. And I know, Carlos, you're into war-themed games, and I think
I also like small presence games that I could take anywhere.
Yeah,
You know,
this is
play
one
at
that was like
lunch at a small
See,
table.
I want to
by
know a little bit. I
itself.
was just going to touch on that. They did say on Dice Tower that this Market Garden one is a tiny taste of what the actual cards.
yeah,
are gonna
they're
be like.
hoping to be it's
So
going to
this
be
is-
bigger.
This is
like,
going to be much bigger. It's not going to be tiny like this.
Yeah, but I could see them coming up with here are some scenarios. You can do the scenario, or you can do the big campaign, right, or the whole
Yeah.
Oh,
whole
so I see.
thing.
This is the Java thing you were talking about. This looks like
Yeah.
Snag it from the website.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to on the link in the Discord server, if you just go to file, if you go to the comment section, the top comment is the link to play it right online. And you can just kind of play through it,
Cool.
which is kind of cool. Yeah,
To
I thought
test
it was
it out.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll have to try it.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
I posted in the Dicebreaker discussion on the new expansions for
Terraforming Mars.
yeah Prelude Part Deux.
Prelude. Duh. Yeah.
Part Deux, and then a full Automa setup, which I'm not sure. Like I know there's already like a solitaire rule set to it.
I don't really want to play.
Does any of
Terraforming
this
Mars
stand out
Solitaire.
to you guys?
No.
Are you gonna throw your money at this?
No,
I like the Prelude, more cards. I like the more stuff.
More Prelude?
Yeah, I like more Prelude.
Do you like Prelude?
Twice as much Prelude. The Automa has no interest for me. I don't really have any interest in playing this by myself.
I don't think I've ever played Terraforming Mars solo.
No.
Ares
I have
Expedition you
played
have
it.
though. Yeah,
I played it on the computer. Like I'll play it
You
on
played-
Steam.
you've played Ares
Ares
Expedition,
Expedition
solo.
solo.
Oh yeah. But that was 2 years ago when I had the baby. Right? I've played it at home solo too. But when I had the baby, we were in the hospital for a few days, so I was playing like on the nightstand in the hospital. Because Ares Expeditions really has a small footprint
Yeah.
compared to like Terraforming
Oh
Mars.
yeah, big time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know that big grandiose game. I want to share that experience, so I play
And,
that with.
Wayne's best friend, Stefan Feld.
Ooh, Civolution.
My man,
I didn't know how to pronounce that.
Civolution.
Evolution.
What do we know about this?
I don't know. Click the link.
It's Stefan Feld. It's a civilization game. It's
Feld
not
Civilization
It's
game, that's
not
it.
from Queen Games. So
Oh, there you go. So it's gonna look better. Yeah.
Kind of has its
It's-
Minority Report thing going.
yeah,
His hands floating there. Yeah.
still at least a year out, so we don't know all the details yet. So it's definitely gonna be, but I think it's interesting. They're what's gonna be interesting. You get the 4X and Civ builders and whatever, and you have like this. The big designers are slowly trying to do their own versions of, I'm going to do a Civ game, I'm going to do a 4X game, I'm going to do whatever. So I thought it was interesting that Stefan was coming out with this game sort of after.
Let's read this thing. The quick intro. Manage the countless possibilities of evolving your civilization. And then some of the publisher notes here. Hello, student beans. The Cosmic Faculty of the Technical Academy of Creation is delighted to welcome you to your Civolution, the final exam in the civilization design. Okay, so it's like you're a student, so it's not recreating or setting up a world.
Yeah. It's like you're in a classroom building a civilization in like a computer model.
It's like Ender's Game, right? Where you're like flying the ships and you're doing all that practice, but then you find out you really killed a whole civilization of aliens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was gonna
What a
spoiler.
twist.
Oh, if you
Spoiler.
haven't read the '80s book or watched the 2000 movie,
Yeah.
spoiler.
Spoiler.
The
Well,
aliens
most people
died.
didn't see that movie. So
Well,
That was a great book, though. Man, that was a good book. For this occasion, we prepared a humanoid scenario on an isolated continent. Here, each of you holds the rank of a local deity, which is closely linked to its very own civilization and must lead it to success over other civilizations. All right, does it talk about the game at all? Let's see.
well, if you look at
when
the category, it's got dice, economic, exploration.
medium to heavy Euro-style game that utilizes a dice selection mechanism to trigger actions on a tech tree-like structure as you figure out how to best use your dice and put your unique cards into play. Tons of strategies and paths to victory emerge. Wow, Stefan Feld all the way.
sign me up.
Though each time you play, you will only explore a fraction of the possibility that the game system and many cards provide. I'm in.
I'm in.
That
Yep,
was
sign me
enough.
up. I'm good.
I like the idea of the simulation, right? Like they can really play with that.
Yeah.
There's no locked in IP fantasy world feudalistic era, right? We're not locked into a time frame or anything. It's like it's whatever we want. It's VR. It's Ready Player One.
Be
It's
loose with the rules, loose with the
theme,
Yeah.
the different things that can come together.
Even morals of the
Right.
world. I mean, you could just wipe out a civilization. We're not talking about real civilizations here. We're just gonna wipe out these people over here and do a thing over there. You don't have to worry about the consequences. Well, there might be consequences, but yeah,
Losing the exam.
yeah. There you go.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Like looking at the cover, I was like, I don't know what this is.
Now, Feld and Civ Builder, come on.
And then all the different ways to score, the different into victory, and then I'm curious to see what they mean by each time you play, you'll explore just a portion of the mechanisms and the cards available to you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like James' comment, COB, the Civ game. So, like,
yeah.
you know, like, you just kind of like the mechanism, Castle Burgundy, yeah.
Dice selection.
I mean, he is one of the best designers of all time, right? He's got to be in that pantheon of top 5 or 10, right?
Yeah.
So this by itself, just his name makes you interested in it. But that description sounds pretty cool to me. I like the idea of, you know, you're kind of like a student in the classroom and you're building a Civ as a final project. So every time you do it, it's gonna be a little different. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
Don't screw it up, Feld.
No pressure. And then finally in the news here, the last bit of the news from our news channel. Folks, when it comes to the news channel,
New channel.
it's a new channel.
Okay,
That's the news channel. For you folks, you can throw in whatever articles you think are cool. At the end of the day, I'm not making decisions on what to share based on like us curating news articles ourselves. If you've got some news that we're not aware of, throw it in there so that we can at least, you know, look at it before the show.
Talk about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So lots of cool options. This is the final. Wayne, talk about the final charges.
So yeah, it was like a Class D felony. So it's like one of the highest level felonies you can be charged with. These guys are getting hit with because so the news article, I've read like 4 or 5 different news articles on it. So the value of what they stole has been reported as low as 150,000, as high as 300,000, and it was commander decks of Magic the Gathering that they walked off with. They are game designers. They have a game on BGG, which is actually in the hotness off and on because people checking it out and then review bombing it because that's what nerds do, right? They you know,
this is how we act.
That's why I hate BGG rankings. But they have been officially charged. They're still not at large, but they've been sort of, I think their lawyers have then thus been in contact with the Indiana PD and district attorney. So they're I think both of the individuals live or reside in the state of New York. The goods have all been returned. So they didn't quickly try to like sell it. So they were able to return all the goods. So at least the company that got stolen is getting the decks back. But the problem is now this company has, you know, $300,000 or $100,000 worth of the commander decks that they were expecting to sell at Gen Con that they now have that they can't sell as fast. So it'll be interesting. But yeah, these guys are in some serious trouble because, you know, they're being charged with one of the highest level felonies in the state of Indiana, apparently. And, you know, there's video evidence. Like there's not much you could say other than you're the dumbest criminals of the year. You've won the Darwin Award of criminals because you not only looked up at the video cameras, you were wearing the game shirt of the game you designed, you know, so.
Next game they're going to play is how to make jailhouse wine in toilets.
Yeah. How premeditated? I know it's just guessing.
I think it was. I totally think it was. I
Just
think it was just a theft of opportunity.
opportunity.
I think that they were. I think, you know, they were probably walking back and forth, loading in games or helping out whatever they were doing there, and it was the pallet was probably sitting there for an hour or 2 hours, and they were like, nobody's came back for this.
Nobody's watching this thing.
We could just wheel it out. Yeah, I
Up
totally.
to 6 years in prison.
And I think it's gonna be more than that, or it could be more
my
than
goal
that.
in life. My goal in life as a young Latino growing up off of 22nd Street here in Tampa.
Do 6 years in prison?
Never go to jail. Like that was
Yeah.
my number one goal in life. Don't go to jail.
Yeah.
Don't be a statistic. You know?
See, and I think this article is actually a couple of days old because one of the newer ones that I saw was that it was even worse than that. It was like up to 15 years or something like that. That potentially, I mean, the benefit to them is they were able to return all the stolen goods. So there's some benefit there, and they can kind of throw themselves on the mercy of the court and be like, we have a clean record. We've never done anything wrong. It was just a dumb, you know, if they could sell that it was a one-time thing and they were just dumb, maybe, but I don't know. I guarantee you though, Gen Con next year, the security in that back area, that loading docks, is going to
You'd have to
be a
think.
whole lot better.
Yeah, you'd have to think.
'Cause
Yeah.
They talked about it. So Board Games Insider, Ignacy, Trevicek, Stephen Bonacore, and the guy from Dice Tower News, who I'm going to
Yeah.
forget.
Me too.
They were talking about it today and talking about how for years, like, you know, just everyone's unloading vans there, and people are like, "Hey, I'm done with my booth. Can I help you with yours?" And just it was a very friendly atmosphere of everyone helping out everyone.
Oh, they helped.
And yeah,
Help
they
to move some
helped
product. I'm going to
themselves.
move this over to here.
Yeah. But they were saying, like, you know, it used to be this very friendly atmosphere of like, let's just get it done. Let's get everyone loaded in. And you didn't really question anybody carrying product or moving pallets or helping out because you just assume that we're all gamers, we're all designers, everyone's back there for a reason, and we're all part of this community. But now that trust is kind of broken. And it's like the one guy was saying, like I used to walk around and I would help set up the Dice Tower booth, and I'd go help set up this booth, and I would do these things. And now, like, I'm going to be back there, and probably everyone's going to question, who are you? Where are you from? We don't need your help, because there's that sort of circle of trust that's been shattered by these two jabronis, idiots, whatever you want to call them. That, like, the New York term, I threw that in there because they're from New York, right?
Yeah. But yeah, and you got to watch your own stuff now. I mean, your security of your own stuff now, instead of being able to go and help the guy on the other side of the convention center, a buddy, go set up his stuff. Now you got to think twice about it. It's like, is my stuff secure? Do I need to stand here and watch this? Do I need to have somebody? You know, do I need to ask somebody to watch my stuff while I'm stepping away?
No, but I felt that at Dice Tower this year too. Dice Tower East. There's a whole section of doors in Dice Tower East, and I'm used to just going through with no problem.
Yep.
But this year they had people posted up 24/7 at those doors, and every time I went to go make my way towards one of those doors, it was, oh no, you can't go through there. I'm like, I don't understand. Like we've used these doors for years. Like we've been going through this. And apparently last year, somebody walked in right through those doors. On the other side of those doors are the hot tables, and apparently just walked out with the whole game.
Yeah,
Just took the game, just boxed it
2
up,
a.m.,
and just walked out.
And that's what they wanted. They wanted the games from the library to stay in the game room
Game
area.
Yeah.
And not go out and get gamed around the convention, around the property. But that's you know what it is it's tough, and I think that's so. If both ways, I like to think of it as positive. It took how many years for some idiots to break that trust, right?
Yeah.
Even at Dice Tower and at Gen Con. So the positive side of me goes, 99% of this community is awesome, friendly. We love it. We're all friendly. We all help out. I mean, look at the Beans and Dice community helping out Dan at the thing. And there were other people that were just walking by and then grabbed some games and helped us carry games out. So 99% of it is great. It's that 1% that kind of ruins it for everybody.
Yep.
Beans and Dice Podcast. State your name. Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, it's Chris from Austin. How y'all doing tonight?
Hey Chris, how are you?
Hey,
We
man,
are talking about jabronis. I don't know about you.
I haven't been watching the whole show, but I've been trying to chime in when I can. My wife and I played In the Footsteps of Darwin tonight. It's a great filler game.
Nice.
It's my third play now, and it's becoming like my go-to filler right now. Have you guys heard of it?
Yeah, that's
Heard of
the
it, I haven't
shorter
played it yet.
one. Right? There's the Footsteps of Darwin, and there was Darwin's Journey. So
Right.
Darwin's Journey is like the 2 or
Correct.
3 hour long game, and this was the short one, right?
Yeah, and it's really fun. It's got a rondel, tile placement. There's lots of ways to score points, but you can play it in like 30 minutes. So, I mean, I taught the game, and we played it in maybe 40 minutes for everything. I think it was more like 35. I didn't keep track, but it was quick. And my wife
This is a
loved
very
it. I
new
said, "What do you
title,
think?"
right?
Pretty new,
Yeah, it came out in this summer, actually. I think it was in June. It was in a release from We Are French is the publisher.
Yeah. I love that name. Sorry, we're French.
Sorry, we're
I
French.
know. Oh, yeah. Sorry, We Are French.
There you
yeah,
go. That's
I
it,
know,
yeah.
I know, buddy. Yeah. Well, and I asked her, my wife, what she thought, and she said 9 out of 10. I was like, oh, wow.
really?
Nice.
So,
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Ringing
Yeah.
endorsement. Yeah.
She loved it.
Oh, I'm gonna have to put it on
highly
my wish
recommended.
list. I love
Yeah.
games that are natural sciences. Any sciences.
Yeah. Totally.
I'm loving it.
Yeah,
Look
I
at the
love
board, though,
artwork
Chris.
and the
That board
components,
looks
too.
tiny. Is that right? Like the middle player board?
It's pretty small, but you have your own player board. So your own player board's the same size as the main board. So you have a lot of space between your board and the main board.
No, this is great. Like I was complaining last week, righteously complaining about how my $900 game topper table no longer fits games because everything is just is inflated
Huge
in size.
Yeah.
I love seeing games that know their role. Like not everyone has a Holmes level table or a Geek Chic level table to play on.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Are you ready to talk a
you'll
little
love this
deeper
one.
about this one? Like any mechanisms that stood out for you, or
I'll let me go into some depth, and then I've got another. I kind of wanted to open up discussion about favorite fillers, which will be a segue, but I'll get a little ahead of myself here. So yeah, let's talk about the game. So I played it with my 6-year-old son twice.
You said six?
Once. We were going to play it a second. No, I have played it twice. No, I played it once with him. That was the first game. Then I played it with a couple friend of ours, and they wanted to buy it after one play.
Nice.
right off of you?
And then
Like they
no,
threw
thank
money at
goodness,
you?
No. No. But they're big gamers, and yeah, the wife said her name's Ruth, and she's like, let's get this one into her husband. And so yeah, so they're gonna buy it, and my wife loved it. So 3 people, my son loves it. So that's like 3 people. That's pretty cool. So anyway, basically what you're doing is you have, I don't know if you got it's pulling it up on the screen, but you've got a rondelle that has the 3x3, I believe, grid.
Yep.
So there's 9 tiles that you can choose from. But wherever the ship, which is called the Beagle, it's like Darwin's ship.
Yep.
Wherever it's located, you really only have an option to pick one of 3 tiles. But then there's these explorer tiles you can get. And if you turn one in, you can move the ship backward a space or forward one space. And then that opens up your options, right? Because you're able to move around. Or you can clear the entire row or column and replace it with 3 new tiles. So you have some flexibility on what you can choose with those Explorer tokens. And you can get more Explorer tokens by taking a tile that has an Explorer token on it. So it's got a really cool little puzzly aspect to it. And then when you complete rows or columns, you get 5 points. You get a 5-point bonus tile for completing. It's called a publication. And you get 5 points for that when you complete a row or a column. So it's kind of neat. One of them, I think it's the columns are the continents, and then the rows are the species. So like you'll have birds going across a row, mammals, insects, and reptiles. So there's like 4 of different species, and then you'll have 4 different continents going up and down on the column side. And so if you fill in all the continent, then you get 5 points. And then in addition to that, there's tiles that have just straight victory points. And it's got denoted with a little red symbol, and it has a little, like a U, upside down U over
The laurel?
it. And that's just, yeah, the laurel. That's what I was thinking. I was trying to remember what it's called. Yep. And that's just straight points. Then there's this other cool little thing where you can score points. It's called compasses. And what's the other one? I just read it in the rule book, and I forget what they are. Maps. I think they're maps. So you for every compass you get, you multiply that times the number of maps you get at the end of the game. So it's little multipliers. So you take a compass, a tile will have a compass on it. Then at the end of the game, you take your compasses, multiply it times the number of map tiles you have, and then that gives you points. And then there's theories. Lastly, there's theories. Theories are on the far right of your player board, and it's in-game scoring, and they're usually worth up to 4 points, but I actually got one in this last game that was 6 points because it gave me 2 points for every publication I had, and I had 3 publications. So it was pretty cool. And my wife and I actually tied at 42 points each, but she beat me because she had the most theories, because the theories is the tiebreaker, which is really cool. And that's pretty much the whole game.
How many people does it
I think
play?
I covered everything. I think it's only 4.
Up
I
to
don't
4?
think it plays over 4, but yeah, up to 4, and it's solid at 2.
Okay.
It scales really well. I played it at 3, and I played it at 2. I have not played it at 4 yet, but I imagine it being just as good. You get to see more tiles at 4 because the tiles come out. Every time you take a tile, you replace a tile.
Okay, so at 2 players, you're only seeing one go away. At 4 players, by the time it comes back around, you've
2 or
got
3.
new
Yeah,
options
it's gonna be like
to choose
the trekking through history, where it's like
Yeah.
it kind of varies.
Yeah,
But I tell you what,
exactly.
so
just like trekking through history.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's another podcast which I like to listen to. It's called the Game Schooler Podcast. It's two educators and they talk about gaming for kids, and they talk about it from an educational standpoint. And last week's podcast, they were raving about this game, and I was thinking about it. And so hearing your call, I just bought it on Amazon. It was $40.
I just
So-
pulled
wow.
I pulled it up on Amazon as well.
Well played.
It's on my other
I bought
tab.
mine on Amazon too. I had pre-ordered it somewhere like Cool Stuff, and it never came in. I'm like, it was supposed to come out in June, and they still had it like coming on like the end of August or beginning of August or something. And so I just had them cancel it, and I ordered on Amazon because all the other sites were getting it, and then it was sold out. I'm like, oh man, I don't want to wait that long because I pre-ordered it back in April or May.
Yeah, these pictures make it a $40 price tag on Amazon for the production value of this game. Looks like it was like a no-brainer. I'm like, ah, screw it. I'm buying it. It looks good. So
Cool. I like the way you
Well, and
described the
you're-
tile selection
Mhm.
piece. It kind of reminded me of like Meadow, right? But not as brain burny. So like you're gonna be sounds like you're gonna be limited in your options. But like for Meadow, to me, that was like too much when it came to trying to decide or seeing what my options were for cards. This has to do with that ship making its way around. So
Limits your-
it kind of it connects the theme too, even better than Meadow did, where Meadow gave you like an up and an axis of Y and an axis of X that you're allowed you can have from this quadrant or this connection.
and just the box cover has like a panda on it in like 3 different spots. So that's like
your
my
wife
wife's
right there.
My wife's
Yeah.
right there. She's all about it. So there you
Oh,
go. She's
yeah.
right there. She's,
It's beautiful, and the inside cover of the box has artwork on it.
Yeah, I
It's just
saw that.
they
Like the
put art
inside, the
everywhere.
underneath
Pencils.
side of the cover. Yeah, that looked really cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's beautiful. You guys are gonna love it, I think. And your son, and it's got all this. It's got a book just on all the animals.
I just
It
turned to
tells
that
you about all
picture.
the animals.
There you
Yeah.
go. I like it.
Good
So
call out,
then-
Chris.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I will plug it. I mean, we plug other stuff. If you have children, school age children or young kids, like the Game Schooler podcast is pretty good because they're two educators that talk about games and how games can be brought in the educational world, which is kind of cool. So
Cool. I'll check it out. Yeah.
Well, thank you for answering my question. I know you just wanted to chat or just throw that piece in there and move forward, but I wanted to hear more. I'm glad we did.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm almost a little too excited about it because my wife gave it a 9 out of 10. So I'm like, I got to call in and like tell you guys about it.
Brag about it. Yeah.
Because if she signed off on it, then I know it's a winner too in our household, right?
Nice.
It's like my son and my wife.
Now, I know my wife gave like 9s out of 10s for Cascadia. How'd your wife feel about Cascadia? Sometimes knowing what other games someone likes kind of gives you a feel for, their current reviews on different games.
You know what? I did not ask her after we played it. She's only played it once. and
Okay,
I
that's
didn't
enough.
Ask her. I know she liked it. I would say she'd probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think she liked it, but not as much.
Yeah, it didn't come back,
Yeah.
so it doesn't sound like she liked it as much as Darwin.
Yeah, we don't own Cascadia, and she didn't mention much about it. So yeah, I would say 8 out of 10 for Cascadia, 9 out of 10 for this one. So
Well, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to open up the discussion on one more level. So this is a filler game. So I think of a filler as something that you can teach and play in under an hour. 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, or it could be even less. But teach and play under an hour. So what are some of your guys' favorite fillers?
I was just moving a bag full of them.
Oh yeah.
Just- Well, okay. One of the dirty secrets about Beans and Dice is I have more games than my shelves can carry. So on the floor in my game room tend to be tons and tons
Stacks of stuff.
bags of Dice Tower. They used to give out the Dice Tower bags.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Those biodegradable bags.
those tote bags. So I got like a dozen of them full of games. So each time Rob comes over for gaming, I got to go move them into another room. And I'm like, oh man, I forgot this bag was here. And it had a bunch of light filler games in there.
I mean, Seven Wonders, Architects.
Yes, Seven Wonders Architects is
Yeah.
light family filler. For me,
King
not Point
Domino,
City, but Point Salad.
Point Salad.
Point
Yeah.
Salad. I like Mountain Goats because I do like, although I do like Can't Stop. Shout out to the Discord going through the Can't Stop tournament. I do like Can't Stop, but I find that Mountain Goats is more finite in its ending. It has more progression towards the end. It's easier to kill it and finish it than
If you have
Can't
five
Stop.
or six, 5 or 6 players for sale. is
Okay,
a
yeah.
fantastic filler.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one. You said Wayne, King Domino. I know we play that a lot. My
King
family, if we
Domino,
got-
Azul.
20 minutes, to
Yeah.
play something real quick. Azul's a good one. What's the poker chips?
Splendor. Any of the
Splendor.
Splendors,
That's it.
yeah.
Do a lot of Splendor. We can play that quick.
it's Not necessarily easy to get, but Biblios, that's a good filler.
That's a good one. Yeah, that's a great game. Cockroach Poker. Yeah, Green Team wins. That's a
new
party
to
game.
new to home to Casa Cabrera, to our house.
There you go.
Green Team Wins made it into our collection last week, and we've gotten games in with the family. Even at 3 players, it's still enjoyable because it in today's age where most teenagers are, recluse on their phones, etc. This really helped to bring out conversation that we even, like, 2 days later, we're walking up to the church, from the parking lot, and we're all arguing about the different questions that were asked. Like, well, how could you say that cookie dough was the best, filling for vanilla? For vanilla ice cream, of course, it's Oreo. Like, how could it be anything else? So it's a great filler, even at 3 players. We played it at 3, but it's good all the way up to its
I like it,
6,
yeah.
and then Wayne will
6.
tell you it'll fit.
We
a whole
played it
party.
with like 15 people. Yeah, it was good.
Oh yeah.
If you're a train game person, I like Transamerica is a good filler. It's a fast, easy train game. I'm trying to think now. My brain.
I think I did good. Point Salad to me has always been a good one. Biblios has always been a good one, but I don't like that it only plays 4. When I hear filler, I think game night. I think 5+ people getting together, and you're trying to just kind of get a game either before or
That's
after.
strange. I was thinking just the opposite. I was thinking filler. I was thinking like 2 players, maybe 3 players. You're thinking a larger player count for a filler, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, because to me, like TI4 night, right? We got like 8 people coming, and I've got 4 or 5 already here.
Okay.
While we wait for the next 4 people to show
I
up.
guess that's based on experience because I'm the opposite again. I think if you're at a game night and 4 people are playing a game and 2 of you showed up late, you're going to play a little 2-player quick game to while they
2-player
finish
fillers,
up.
yeah.
So yeah, interesting.
Because I think most 2 players are
just-
short and fast.
Yeah.
Just one.
Well, Carlos, you're in for a treat. I looked up In the Footsteps of Darwin, and it actually plays 5.
Oh,
there we go.
It's hard to
Okay.
find
Yeah.
games that play 5. We had this discussion a couple weeks
At,
ago.
at a fast speed too, right?
Yeah, they don't take a couple hours.
Bit of culture.
Yeah.
Looking at you.
Sushi Go Party, Love Letter, and Just One.
Good, yeah.
Those are all
They're
good
all
ones.
good.
Yeah.
All good fillers.
What did you have in mind, Chris, as your filler? And don't say Darwin.
Well, you already know about In the Footsteps. I mean,
Yeah.
it's shooting up the charts right now. Shelfie Stacker. Have you heard that by Shem Phillips?
I have heard of it.
Heard of it.
Or is
I
it
know nothing about
my
it.
my Shelfie? Is that what you're talking about? My Shelfie?
No, that's Phil Walker Harding, but Shelfie
Oh, okay.
Stacker's by Shem Phillips, the designer of Raiders of the North Sea. It's a
Right,
dice
okay.
placement game.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Carlos
That one's really fun.
brought up on BGG. I recognize the cover, so I've seen it before, but I don't know anything about it.
No, I'm not familiar. I mistaked it with the Phil Walker Harding Praise Be.
Oh, Shelfie Star. Yeah,
Praise be.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Shelfie.
thinking of. I haven't seen
My
this
Shelfie.
version.
Yep.
This is the most meta board game because it's a board game about collecting board games. So you guys need to check it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, what's
And,
the
man, wait
penalty
till you
for
see the
collecting too many?
There is.
Wait, say that again?
What's the penalty for collecting too many? Like, there's got to be like a downside. Like,
okay.
if you get too many.
Well, you have to put it in order. So it's by columns. Each column has to be the same color, and then the pit value must be lowest to highest. So if you can't follow those placement rules, you have to put it on your shelf of shame,
Oh,
which is negative points.
nice.
So
I
it's
like
really
the theme
fun.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
And I see content creators that I recognize. Is that on purpose?
Okay.
At least in the cover
yeah.
art.
They put it in there. They even have like some of Shem's board games in there, like Raiders of the North Sea. One of the characters has, several games stacked up high, and one of them's Raiders. He can use his own IPs, his own games. So it's really meta. It's so much fun, and it's really
Nice.
fun and engaging gameplay. I think you guys would like it if you like, lighter games like that. Fillers, kind of.
Yeah, really bright colors. The artwork and the dice and everything really bright and popping.
Yeah. And this is
Yeah.
similar, like that. You have the My Shelfie game from Phil Walker Harding, which is similar, where you're trying to fill up. That's another good filler. And then I haven't played it myself, But I watched BJ and Mitch play it on their stream, on the Board Game Gumbo stream, is Junk Drawer, which is similar. It's like you have your junk drawer and you're trying to organize the things in there. So there's several of those kind of themes of games that have come out in the last year or two of like organizing your shelf, organizing your drawers, those kind of things.
Well, what's cool about this one is it's simultaneous play with which character you choose, and they have special abilities. That's what I like. I like that whole Citadels. You play a card, it's all secret, and then you reveal at the same time, and that affects your turn order, just like in Citadels. And I really like that mechanism. And then you have the dice placement too. So it's a nice little hybrid of different mechanisms in one game.
So
Nice.
on the dice on this game, like it rotates. Is that more games per the side of the die? Like that's how many games are on your shelf?
Yeah, exactly. And it's the way they're stacked, like a 3, I think, is up and down. And then I'm trying to remember without looking at it. But yeah, basically it's the number of games and then the orientation of those games.
Yeah, I was going to say that they did a great job with theming the dice. They didn't just go with pips.
Yeah,
They're not like role player.
6, they're all laying down. The 5, there's 3 of them one way, 2 the other way.
Each die is like a cube of a calyx. Is that
Yes, that's what it feels like. Like it's the puzzle you play trying to fill your calyx.
Yep.
But I'm getting a lot of like Azul vibes, right? Because there seems to be these hexagonal,
hexagonal.
Yes.
Hexagonal.
Displays, as what they're called in Azul. So it looks like there's a bunch of dice on these little displays that are hexagon shaped, and then you've got your little side shelf of shame that I saw there. So it seems like if you can't fit it into your orientation of your board, it's going to drop to the shelf of shame. Then it's your negative points. So all that felt very Azul-like. What would make me pick this over Azul?
So it's more interesting for me. So yes, you have the Azul where everybody's picking a stack of dice. There's always one stack more than the number of players, so you're not just stuck with whatever's left over, which I like. And then lastly, you have that mechanism in Citadels, Mission Red Planet, where everyone chooses a card from their hand to play before the dice are drafted. And so based on which card you play determines turn order every single round. And I love that. And then there's a tiebreaker. So if you play the same card that someone else plays, because you have the same, numbered cards in your hand, there's a tiebreaker. You might have the A tiebreaker because A beats B on one card, but then I'm going to have a higher letter on another card. So it's really clever the way they do the tiebreaker. And then you have that hall at the beginning, and then you have special abilities. So say you get something on your shelf of shame, there's one guy that lets you move something from your shelf of shame to your main shelf. And you can do that in a later round. And so you can fix your mistakes. You can even make one color a different color. You can change pit values after the fact. It's just really clever. So you can manipulate the dice in future turns based on which card you played. And I love that.
I think the way you described it really does answer that question well on the why this game, why shelfie stackers over Azul. And I think the what I heard from that was a more friendly game, right? Because some of the knocks that I have for Azul is if you play with Robert, he's always going to leave you with like 6 black tiles that you just can't fit anywhere.
That's what it's all about,
right?
That's how you play the game.
Yeah,
that's how Rob games.
It can be brutal. Yeah.
Yes, Azul can be very painful. This seems like it's not only more friendly because you have more displays of options available, but also you have ways to mitigate what you're pulling in and even move back and forth based on the characters. So that sounds cool.
Exactly. Yeah. Well said. Yeah.
Now you said it. I'm just starting to wonder if you're like a gaming industry.
Summarized it for me.
I'm starting to think you're a gaming industry plant. I'm starting to believe that you're sent to us by the big gaming, big pharma, big gaming, to sell games really well on this show.
Well, yeah, I did go to school for marketing, and so I can sell a product, that's for sure. But I'm not trying to. It's just if I like something, it just kind of comes out of me.
That's why we started this show. It was kind of how that went.
Yep, same thing.
Check out this the back of the shelf of shame.
More, fillers.
Check out the shelf of shame. The picture of it. It's a bird and then Kia.
Kia.
That is awesome. What are the fillers you got?
Is that cool? Okay, so another one that's good if you haven't heard of it, Space Park.
Yes.
Not super well known.
Mike Lorenzo introduced us to this one, Robert.
Yeah, it's ringing a bell, but I can't remember.
Kind of like a Rondell Mancala type of feel to it. Had pretty cool components. You know what? Chris speaks better English than me. Go, Chris.
So you have contract fulfillment like Century Spice Road, where you're just turning in, they're gems in this game, but you're turning in gems to fulfill contracts to complete cards in your hand. And then, it's like a rondelle, and you're moving around. And then there's one that lets you control like this robot, where wherever the robot is, you get like a bonus if someone goes there. And it's like one of two different bonuses you can choose. And so there's manipulating of this robot around there. And then obviously drafting, taking new cards that you can eventually pay for points. It's a race, so the first person to 20 points triggers the end game. So you have that race element, but it's thematic, right? Because you're shooting off rockets and going to different planets. And so it's got a real cool like racing, kind of like Century in that way, but much better. Century Spice Road's fine, but I like this one better. There's more interaction because you can't go anywhere you want. You have to use these special tokens to like blast off further. You just go to like the next spot, or it's like you have an option of I think 2 spots you can choose every turn. But if you use these little tokens, you can blast off farther. And so there's trying to get those tokens to give you more options. And so it's really fun. It's a nice filler. So definitely worth checking out if you haven't played it.
Cool. I'll tell you. So now Carlos brought up the pictures, and I started seeing it. I remembered that Mike Lorenzo had talked about this before, but
he taught it to us, and I think it was Escape Winter. You played it, Robert.
I played this.
You played it.
No.
You may have been drinking or had some Popeye's chicken that had you.
Pretty certain I didn't play this one, but I don't recognize any of the art or anything other than the time we brought up the pictures when Mike was talking about it before. But anyway, I was gonna say just the description of it and stuff was completely forgettable. I mean, I would have completely forgotten about it until I saw these pictures, which reminded me of it. But now that 2 of you have mentioned it, I'm thinking I might need to get this one played.
Yeah, it's fun. I still like I'm trying to think. Maybe the last 2 I'd mentioned, I like a little bit more, but I like it. I've played it like 20 times by now, maybe at least 20 times. So it's just great to just get out, easy to teach,
Interesting. Cool.
Definitely. Yeah. And then I have, I think 2 more listed here that I wrote down before the show. Archaeology, the New Expedition by Phil Walker Harding.
Oh, yeah. I keep hearing good stuff about this one. I really want to try this one.
Yeah. And that one's a lot of fun. It's a little pressure luck kind of game. And there's some nice player interaction. And you have these little sandstorms that can wipe out some of your cards. And so you have to, pressing your luck with that. But then there's these cool little tiles that every game you can change up, and it changes the rules of this one spot and what they do. So it adds a lot of replayability for a filler game, because every game you play is a different one. I think there's like 10 of these new tiles in the game. And they added that with the New Expedition version. Like the original card game didn't have that.
Right.
And this is the one with the very strong push your luck piece.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Little bit of mitigation because
very
you got
much
like
so.
one thing that can save you one time. You got to decide when to use it.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was a
you
good
have
one.
Like 1/10. It's fun and it's quick. 20 minutes. With the rules teach, maybe 30 minutes you can play it. That's
Nice.
fun.
You play this one, Carlos?
And then,
Yes.
Where'd you play this one
I
at?
think I played it with you, Robert. You may be forgetting all the games we played
I
together.
haven't played this one either. I keep
I
saying
remember.
this one.
I remember
seen
this one got
several
played
times
at
on
your
Dice
turn
Tower.
at one point.
Okay, yeah, I've seen this on Dice Tower several times, and I've always wanted to play it.
It was the hard part was the set collection piece. Like you're trying to get for that set, but you don't know who else is going for it. So they might have the limited supply of that type of item. And you're like, oh my God! For God's sake, who has the amulet? Who has the other? I need another amulet. Like, or else I'm going to lose all that energy I put into holding on to this card. Because if you have too many cards, I can't remember if it's a card count or card type. But when a sandstorm occurs, like you lose based on how many cards anyone who has it over a certain number. So like you can hang on to a
lose
horde of
half.
stuff, and you lose. Yes, you lose half
half.
rounded
Wow.
down. I think it is of what you had.
penalizing.
But if you're below a certain number, you don't lose. I can't remember exactly, but
That's true.
it was good. It was good.
Cool.
It's Phil Walker Harding.
Praise be.
Praise be.
He's so good. And then the other Phil Walker Harding game I just played this past weekend is Planet, a Game of Nature and Nurture. Have y'all played that one? One of his newer titles?
The one that we see at Target all the time, Planted.
Yeah, I played it
Yeah,
once.
the Target one. Yep.
Yeah, I have not played it
Yeah,
yet.
I haven't
I
played it.
keep walking by it.
It hasn't grabbed me. I've seen some pictures and stuff online of the game and of people playing it, and I don't know.
I played it with Diego
Actually, we
and
played
Rachel
this at Dice Tower. Actually, I played with you, Wayne. Now that
I
I
like
remember
Buffalo.
I did play it.
I do like Buffalo games.
It was your turn, Con. We played.
Was it
this
your
at
turn, Con?
Yeah,
Okay, maybe.
yeah. It was
Okay.
good. It was okay.
That's right. Yeah, it was
didn't-
okay. That's right. I remember it now. Yep.
You remember this one, but you don't remember playing any other games with me.
I remember this one. No, huh?
But he remembers the game he played with me.
It's lower on my list.
Of course.
It's just a card drafting.
Yeah.
Card drafting
Yeah.
game. It's pretty simple. It's forgettable, but it has nice components for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a quick drafting game. If you want to play a real quick, I actually like it better than Sushi Go Party, believe it or not. Maybe that's a bad thing to say, but I thought it was more fun than Sushi Go Party, and I played that one like 30 times. So
this one's got a lot of love. A lot of people liked this, and we did play it. That's right. And yeah, it left me a little flat. I don't know why. The components are great. Those little wooden pieces and the cards look nice. And if I remember, it was nice card stock. But yeah, it didn't grab me. It was kind of okay. Yeah, it was kind of real basic mechanisms. It was, I don't know, something about it didn't.
But it's a
didn't
perfect
grab me.
target game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's definitely a light, quick teach family. Yeah, definitely.
And then the last one is.
Well, before we move on from that,
sorry.
I think for me, what I'm waiting for is to see it like on a strong Target discount.
Big sale.
Like when you see these games at Target, you know that eventually they're gonna hit like that $10 mark, and you're like, okay, I can't not buy it now.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to find that moment, and then I'll scoop this one up.
Yeah.
It's
I
not
just think-
off my radar. It's just
Yeah.
not. The price hasn't come to me.
There is. I've
That's what
I mean, probably played 15 or more Phil Walker Harding games, and while they're not all fantastic, there's nothing. He doesn't do anything that's just garbage, right? I've never played a game of his that isn't at least you go, okay, it's a good game, but it's okay. There's just, but no games are like I am never playing that game. Like I liked playing it. It was good. It's not good enough for me to own, probably. Unless I get like a $10 at Target, but I'll play it again. I'll gladly play it again. Like,
I'd
sure,
play it
why
again.
not? Just,
Okay, the last one I have, I like it better than Planted, but I would say it's below the other three that I mentioned earlier. Is called Floriferous by Steve Fenn, Pencil First Games.
Haven't played it yet. I know there was a lot of buzz around it when it first came out. But this is part of a line, correct? This is the third one, if I remember, in kind of this group of games. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. One thing that's interesting about it is the in-game scoring cards that you can pick up. They're at the very bottom of the drafting. You could draft these little cards, and they're always at the very bottom. But if you take one at the bottom, then you need to go last the next round or next turn. So there's this whole dynamic of should I get this one now and then go last next turn, or should I not get that now because I really need this juicy card and I don't want to be last in turn order? And that's probably the most interesting thing about it is the turn order changes from turn to turn based on which card you take in the column. And I love that. That's got really cool player interaction and some good decisions to make. And the components are good too.
Cool. Yeah, the
artwork.
Colors and the artwork, as I say, really pop. I mean, this is a bright, happy, cheery game.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I see a theme here, a trend with Chris's game selections.
Yeah.
A lot of natural, a lot of science.
Yeah.
Beautiful art.
Stacking shelfies.
Totally. Yeah. In Footsteps of Darwin, I just love the theme. I just love all the animals and animals, nature. I'm not as big on the plants, just plants by themselves, but like if it's got nature theme, animal theme, I love that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool, guys.
Great
well,
call.
Thank you for the feedback.
Well, as always, we appreciate the call and the stimulating conversation. You always bring something cool to the table. So keep calling every week. We look forward to hearing from you.
You got me to buy a game. So
Wayne jumped on and bought a game tonight already.
Yeah, maybe I should start working for Sorry We Are French, Give them a call and say, hey, can I join your marketing department, guys?
Chris can have like a little affiliate thing going with Amazon.
Yeah,
Let me tell you about this game. Here's the link to my affiliate.
Pair up
Trade
with Phil
barbecue
Walker Harding or something. Yeah,
and
there we
trade
go.
barbecue for crepes.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys. Y'all have a great night, and I'll talk to you next time.
I hope.
Yeah,
to hear
that's
from
good,
you.
man. Thanks. Appreciate
Good
it.
night.
Good night.
Let's do this box.
Yeah. Let's do the box. Open it up, Robert.
Got something to rip this thing open with?
I no.
All right, let me find. I get it here. One minute. That big wooden sword's not going to help. No,
Oh, sorry. It's not quite what Mitchell has, but
no. All right, it's open. Go. You gotta. It's your item here.
no. I'm controlling the cameras. You.
All right. Here it is.
Oh,
That giant
that's
box.
it?
That's it.
That's a little disappointing. Size
False
matters.
advertising on size.
matters. Size matters.
Oh, shake it. Nope.
Didn't grow.
No.
Didn't.
Let's see here.
Maybe some of it get left in the box.
What else is
There's
in there? Like, is that really it?
Oh, there's something else in here.
Oh, yeah.
Filler paper.
Great.
Yeah.
Wow.
Ruining.
They
All right,
stuffed
so-
the box.
Single-sided neoprene mat. Help me out there, Robert.
Yeah, hold up.
For all you folks that play Mosaic. So
Right side up. I can't see.
Yeah, right side up.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, you got it.
I think one of the most difficult parts of Mosaic is much like a tapestry. I'm sorry, much like a terraforming Mars or other tableau building games like Planet. There's a lot of cards, right? So when there's a lot of cards, you get these tall decks. So sleeving it is just not going to work because Robert knows with a tall deck of cards, they just slide over,
Yes.
right? They just fall over.
Thought you might go somewhere else.
It's trying to keep it clean.
There we go.
This actually looks smaller
Oh yes.
than the board.
Actually, this looks smaller than the cards. I mean, wow,
Well,
that's
this-
weird.
I-
You got
I
cards
kept-
right
I
there.
kept-
Hold on.
I kept my whole Mosaic setup out because I've been waiting for this mat to show up because I've been wanting to play this. Okay, it'll fit.
It will just barely. I think those are like exactly the size of the card.
Barely.
Yeah, just barely.
But what I found was I tried not to sleeve the cards because the decks were too big. But then all these decks and these cards, these options that you're buying, they get displayed on the cardboard board. And I don't know about y'all, but picking up a card off of a cardboard board, like I feel like I started ripping the cards, the edges. You know what I'm talking about? Where you start like tearing the edges when you're picking it up with your fingernails.
Start marking them.
Yeah, so that bothered me. So then I ended up having to sleeve them all, and that got me back to problem number one. So this mat, when it came out in the next Kickstarter, was number one on my list to buy, so that I can slide cards around on the board. I can pick cards up off the tableau without worrying about messing up the cards. So now I'll have the whole deck unsleeved, and with the new expansion shuffled in, ready to play.
Man, these.
Because the
these
problem with sleeving
hexagons are
cards when you
tiny.
have a giant stack is they slide down. They don't
Yep.
stay stacked really well. Yeah.
So this mat's gonna help me not have to sleeve the cards. I don't know if these tiles
Oh,
will
where's
fit.
you got any of the tiles over there? I'm really curious. These hexagons on here look tiny. All right, he's gonna try to find one. You have any over there? Yeah. Gosh, I mean, it really definitely saves you on some table space. Yes. Again, quite precisely, pretty much exactly the size, and I assume that won't change for the edition with the minis. I would assume they're all exactly the same.
Okay, so it looks like it'll fit. It'll do.
It's tight.
It'd
Yeah,
be
but it'll
tight.
fit.
It'd be twit.
Toit.
like a tiger.
Toiga.
So there it is. There's the Mosaic neoprene mat. I'm glad to see that colors are nice. I worry sometimes
Smells good.
with love the smell of ink in the morning. I worry sometimes with when you go to a neoprene mat, text is harder to read.
Okay.
Right? I don't know, Rob, if you've noticed that. Castles of
Burgundy.
Burgundy, it's neoprene mat. It's harder to see the fine details
Oh, yeah.
that are on the board compared to the cardboard board.
Yeah,
Uh,
you
but-
can't get as fine detail printing.
Right, because it's printed on fabric.
Hmm.
But I'm not seeing that being an issue here.
No.
I can
Sorry.
see clearly delineate the different cities or regions that we have, the different locations for the tiles that are the bronze tiles versus the shipping tiles or the port tiles. All
You
right.
got to take a photo of put the game board down and then put the mat on top to see is
What the
the
difference
mat
is.
actually saving space.
Well, he's got it right there. We can
Oh,
do it
there you
right
go. Never
now.
mind. Oh, look
I
at
wasn't
that.
kidding. I was like, I left all my Mosaic stuff out from our last play because I've been looking forward to getting this mat out.
Move this. We'll do it. The mat on top because I assume the mat is smaller, but we'll find out in just a second. Oh,
yeah, definitely.
I think.
It seems like it already is. Yeah. Well, it should be the exact same size too.
Hey, watch.
Sam, the mat should come with a warning. Items may appear smaller than they are.
Yeah,
it
it's
exactly
exactly
the
the same size.
Okay.
Okay.
Wow. All right. So that is a
Exactly the
well-designed
same.
game mat then, because I mean, it is a 100% replacement for the game board.
I think, but just looking at it, I mean, just eyeballing it, they have just kind of
They compress the board.
yeah. The board is a little smaller, so the hexes are smaller, and the board area, the play area, is smaller. Where did they lose ground though? I don't know.
Is it maybe the edge stitching on the mat? Maybe.
Maybe they had to shrink everything a little bit because of the stitching.
Yeah, it could be it because it is.
Yes, because you can see there's a border here, which is the same size as this border, but then the stitching
And then
is in
inside of
addition
it,
to
so
that.
they did
They had to
shrink it
shrink
just a
little
hair.
bit. Yeah.
Because the card spots, which I always complain about the size of this board. All right, well this will work. This will do.
Yeah.
This will do, Dobby.
Yeah, you're not really
So
losing.
it doesn't
anything,
actually like decrease the sprawl of the game, but it will allow for easier pickup of cards.
Yes, that was the number one goal in this. All right, I'm excited to get hopefully report back this week a play of Mosaic with the new expansions, the new governments, all that fun stuff.
Cool.
Well, thank you for opening that up. Yeah, well that got us pretty
That's
far.
there, yeah.
That got us to the end of the game or end of the day.
End of the game.
Game over, man.
Game over, man.
Too soon. Wayne, any closing thoughts for the folks at home?
No, great show. Just make sure. I know Carlos has done a good job of plugging it, but make sure you comment and join the Discord server. We, plenty of conversation going on there. Games on BGA. Mitchell and I try our best to put out a podcast to lead into this show. So please, comment on that. Call into this show. I said it on the podcast this week. Mitchell and I both started out as callers, and now we're sort of, part of the show. So, it's all big one family. Part of the family. We're all family. It's like Vin Diesel here.
Yeah. Don Toretto.
It's family.
Yeah, we're doing a little Can't Stop tournament. I bombed the first round. I got 0 in the first round of Can't Stop.
For the whole game?
Yeah. Didn't get one.
Yeah. I won the first game and then got crushed in the second one. So we'll see what happens.
My second one just
one.
started, so yeah.
I'm on my third one and it's not
Are you
going
really
so
already?
well.
Mine
Yeah,
just started my
but it's not
second.
very well. Yeah.
I think the one thing in common with Rob and all his slow games is Rob.
Oh, no. No.
Well, folks, check out, again, the podcast. Check out the Discord. That's where we share and communicate. We thank you, all the callers that called in today that makes this a call-in show. Check out your podcast provider, whatever it is that you use. Download the podcast because we do put this in audio format. So if you happen to miss it live, you can listen to it in audio format sometime over the weekend. I post it up so you can enjoy kind of replaying it back. I want to, again, just say let's see y'all next week.
Yeah.
God bless you and your families. Please pray for mine. We will catch you all next week on the Beans and Dice podcast.
Thanks for watching the Beans and Dice podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye, everybody.